clicking live with the squeaky flow. We'll knock you down like a domino. In rehab, they taught me how to sew. Now I'm making sweaters like a seasoned pro. TikTok, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. It's your friendly neighborhood philosopher here. And the man who drives the jihadis insane.
Nuts.
Literally insane.
Nuts.
B.Apostate Prophet.
Oh, hello.
Hey, anything? So we were live for like 20 hours yesterday going through stuff. Any updates since then, or everything's just the same?
I don't know. I just woke up. Everything pretty much the same, except that the guy apparently went live and made a few comments, but then it seems that he avoided talking about it.
Smart.
And only published one stupid video where he says, "I made Apostate Prophet cry," and then he just shows his opening speech, and then he just shows my frozen face, and that's it. He doesn't show anything of the actual debate. And I just saw people going after him massively everywhere, and I've been contacted by some really serious people who saw the death threat and who offered their help. Very serious people.
They contact you
very
like,
serious people
hey,
in
Apostate
DC.
Prophet. We saw what happened. We have a very particular set of skills that can be very dangerous for people who threaten you.
Something like that, but less dangerous, by some people who with very serious connections who said, "Hey, this is not something to be taken lightly, and here are our recommendations and how we can help." And I was like, "Whoa, that's nice, man." So, but anyway, I also forwarded everything to the FBI and possibly looking into pursuing charges.
Hey! You know it's funny. Because James from Modern Day Debate, he emailed all the people, and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, there will be really good security here, and we've got blah blah blah." And I'm thinking man, here's my security right here, baby. Here's my security right here. But what's interesting is if the FBI thinks that there may be a plot, they'll actually end up providing free security because they'll have some agents swarming around there. In other words, jihadis, if you were planning on taking us out at DebateCon, better luck next time. Your boy Menstrual Dawa ruined everything for you. Now there's going to be all kinds of crazy security there.
Yeah, apparently, because this whole thing started going around that he threatened me, and then and James didn't even realize. I guess he wasn't paying that close of attention.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's paying more attention to tech stuff and so on.
So he didn't even notice some of the things that Comedy Central said or did during the debate, including the thing that he did this. I didn't even notice that. But since the word got out that he threatened me and that he also explicitly said that he would take care of me in February at the debate, apparently other people who also want to attend the debate or who are going to be debaters brought this up and were like, "Wait a minute, what is happening here?" So James felt, I guess, motivated to.
Oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about the other people.
He's going to hire security, so he's going to have some serious security detail about which he also informed me, and I forwarded everything to the FBI. And I'm also in charge. I'm also in contact in the back with other people who have very serious contacts close to where the debate is supposed to take place. So. The guy made a stupid mistake. This is
dumb. What a dummy. This wouldn't have happened if you had taken my advice. AAP, true or false? I was messaging you saying, "Hey, you could just let him win so that his popularity goes up and then destroy him at DebateCon."
I was actually thinking about that. I was pondering that the day leading up to the debate, but then I don't know. I guess shower thoughts, but I suddenly started thinking about Muhammad in the Bible, things that they argue about Muhammad in the Bible, and I started getting really, really amused with the idea of all kinds of dumb things that they say, and how you can actually respond to this. and wanted to go into a completely different direction. I started actually unusually preparing a list of everything that they bring up and how to respond to it, and general thoughts as refutation from my side, and other things to bring up in conjunction with all of this. And then I go into the debate, and while I thought that he might challenge me on a few things, all he did was bring up Deuteronomy 18, and aside from that, all he's doing is just insulting me and insulting everyone else. And then he's not even getting anything that I say. So I thought, all right, all right, all right, all right. I guess we'll have to handle this differently.
You brought this on yourself, Central Dawa. You brought it on yourself. Could have had a nice, friendly, intelligent, whatever, but not with you.
Powerful.
You ruin it. Islam ruins everything, man. Just ruins everything.
Islam ruins everything.
It is interesting that his approach totally changed, because in my debate, he went like rapid fire, bringing up a bunch of things, and they were all like the obscure arguments. It's not like Deuteronomy 18. It's not John 14. It's not even Song of Solomon 5:16. So it's none of the normal stuff. He tried to pick out. Well, his script writer decided to pick out a bunch of kind of obscure things instead of the traditional ones and do those rapid fire. And then for this one, totally changed, focused on one apparently, and the most the what used to be the most popular one, still one of the most. It's the one, if you read, like if you get some sort of Quran or something like that, study Quran or a Quran with notes. When you read Surah 7:157, it talks about Muhammad in the Bible. They almost always, if it's some sort of study Quran a Quran with notes, it says, yes, Deuteronomy 18. They'll say 18:18 or 18:15, and they'll mention for the gospel, John 14:16. And so, yep, went with a classic, gotta love it, and stuck with that and embarrassed
You know
himself.
what's funny? On the thing now, on the scheduled live stream and on the flyers, basically on the announcements, it is now James changed it so that everyone now has opponents. For our debate, it is just me, and then the other side is empty, and it says to be announced.
Oh, that's funny. Did
So
he switch?
there's
Did
no
he switch
point
your
there.
side to the hero side instead of the villain side?
I don't know yet. I only see the stream at this point right now. But isn't this amazing? There's like there are debates going on, like 2 days of debates on different topics. There is one Muslim debater representing Islam, and that Muslim debater has been cancelled because he made a death threat.
Multiple death threats.
Multiple death threats. And
Multiple
This
death
is just this is the reputation, the plague of Islam. This is what you get with Islam.
And then everyone has to ramp up security. Everyone has to ramp up security. By the way, for anyone, because apparently now you've got some other people, some people who are attending, as you pointed out, who are concerned. Hey, wait a minute, what's going to be going on there? Is this a dangerous spot? Just so you know, guys, as long as you stay 10 feet away from me or AP at any given time, you will not be the target of whatever happens. So
Powerful.
if we're over
And there's
here,
gonna be some
if
serious
we're over here
security.
and you're over here, no one's attacking you. They'll be attacking over here.
That's true.
With that said, if you want to form a wall of protection around AP, you could do that.
Or you could just bring a bunch of L-shaped Qurans. This will protect you as well.
You should market those. And wow. Awesome stuff. So guys, we are going to I guess more info will be coming in on Central Dawa's meltdown. What a dope. If he were smart, then after it he would have put, "Hey, did everyone get my joke?" Should have posted that right afterwards. Oh, I can't believe AP didn't get my joke. Should have said that. And then
He's trying to save it by saying all he did was just to reaffirm what the Sharia says and so on. It's like no man, it's way too late for that. We have it all on video. There is no way of wiggling yourself out of this.
Yeah, guys, that saying he said that your blood is halal. Lots of Muslims, even people like Ali Dawa and so on, who want to execute apostates, There are lots of Muslims who believe you only do that once you're in authority, right? Once you have your Sharia compliant hellhole, that's when you do it. But until then, you don't do it. Whereas if I say your blood's halal, that means it's okay. Any Muslim can walk up and kill this guy. That's what it means. And so announcing that kind of naughty. Again, you don't even see it. It's surprising to people when you see someone like Ali Dawa, Daniel Hakikachu, and so on saying, yes, in an Islamic state, you would be executed and so on. You don't even see these guys shouting out, that's everyone, look, your blood is halal. His blood is halal now. You don't even see them doing that. So this guy just went farther, and he was driven to this behavior, forced into it by AP, having a little Quran L there.
Powerful.
Shameful. All right, so we're going to be talking about, today we're going to be looking at a short video by Tom Holland, which the video is called, I named the live stream the same thing, but it's Why Hitler Hated Christianity. So we're going to check that out, and then AP will share his thoughts on why Tom Holland is completely wrong and why the Groypers are right to pretend to love Christianity and simultaneously really love Hitler. So we're going to be checking that out. We'll take these first couple super chats. Shout out to Jack Ray for some channel memberships and for this Apologetics Roadshow. Welcome to the Waiting for AP show. It's everyone's favorite show. Hey, we should do that. One day I should not even tell you we're going live, but I'll announce it that we're going live, but I won't tell you. And then I'll just go live and just sit here and wait for 4 hours live with everybody.
That's fun.
And we'll call it the Waiting for AP show. That would actually be good. How did that get Funny Mustache Man as a guest? How did we get... We told him there were some Jews here. Beautiful looking boys sending my love. Thank you.
Where?
We're the beautiful looking boys. Movie idea, bar hobo with a shotgun. What do you think? Bar hobo with a shotgun. That's funny. Jack Ray said, if you have a problem, hey, you just told me roughly how old you are, Jack Ray. 'Cause you're probably around my age. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. AP, you will never in your entire life know how awesome it was to be a kid in the 80s watching all the awesome shows, the A-Team, Knight Rider, all that stuff.
I know what the A-Team is. I got a glimpse of it, but I've never seen a bit of it.
No, you might know what it is. You have no idea what it's like being like an 8-year-old. I mean, even before that. So you started getting all these awesome shows, Dukes of Hazzard, Incredible Hulk, and then they came out with the A-Team and again, Knight Riders. It was just an awesome time for shows. They knew how to get kids watching by keeping us entertained. Oh, so the FBI will do something helpful. Once in a lifetime opportunity, gentlemen.
Hey, the FBI can be very, very good.
I have to say, given their interactions with me and AP, they are more on the ball than I was aware of. I thought of them as total dopes. It's more like they pretend to be total dopes so that they can catch people. That's what it seems like.
Whenever I talked to different people from the FBI, they were significantly more informed on Islamists and terrorists and their implications and so on than I thought they would be. Mm-hmm. And the one time was very funny where one of those guys came to my door and basically said that they have been recently informed that I have been receiving death threats and they wanted to check on me and have a conversation with me. And the guy was like he knows everything about Islamists and Islam.
Isn't that interesting, right? You'd think everyone in the government's completely clueless.
Yeah.
And so, I've said it before, but I got my first glimpse of this when we were live years ago. You're talking like 2010 or something. Me, Pastor Joseph, and Sam, and a guy called in the show. It was a live call-in show. A guy called in and said he's going to kill us. And afterwards, the guys who take the phone calls, afterwards they came out and told us, and they said as soon as that guy hung up, they got a call from Homeland Security, said, give us the callback number on that guy. And it's like, wait, you guys sit here and watch our show looking for troublemakers? That's very interesting. And then, of course, when the FBI shows up at my door one day and tells me about some credible death threats and so on, and how to contact them if anything looks off or something like that. Interesting stuff. So yes, the FBI is more on the ball than people are aware of. Sadly, this stuff, Gabe says, sadly, this stuff is why I carry nowadays. I don't know why that would be sadly, but I have to say, AP posted a pretty mean threat earlier on Twitter. It just said, "Dear jihadists," and him holding a pistol. Pretty messed up. Very rude. Very, very, very rude. Gotta get some target practice in. Make sure you're a machine and ready. Of course, I can't, Gabe. I'm not allowed to have anything. AP, remember we were on that gun farm. We were on that gun farm shooting stuff, and I'm not allowed to shoot anything. Remember, I tried to get someone to shoot a Quran out of my hand.
Yeah.
And no one would do it. Not out of respect for the Quran. They're like, no, we don't play like that. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Just shoot it out of my hand. You can aim for the top. It'll be an awesome video. No one. And I thought that was so weird because I grew up in, hillbilly West Virginia, and even though you got all these gun lovers there, they're still like crazy hillbilly West Virginians. Like my cousins from Preston County, hillbilly area. If I had done, they would have lined up. They would have lined up to take to shoot the Quran out of my hand. Anyway, fun times, man. Fun times. Yeah. Abraham said, I was watching a doc on SBS. I don't know what that is. Apparently, the number one concern they have in Germany is whether the kebab is Turkish or German. Don't worry about the Islamic invasion. We need to sort out the kebab situation. Yeah, it seems almost everyone worries about the least important things right now.
SBS is the Australian service broadcasting.
Oh, yeah.
Special broadcasting service.
Yeah, got to get the kebabs right. AP, in your opinion, who will destroy who? Alex or David?
I will just sit there and I will watch them destroy each other, and we'll just, we'll be gleeful about it. Gleeful.
AP is going to be like the United States isolationist. He's going to see everyone destroying themselves over there while he gets stronger and stronger because everyone else is destroying themselves. Apostate of Allah says, I finished last night's stream today while getting ready for work and cooking dinner. It was long. That's what she said. I laughed so much and so hard. I'm sure people 2 neighborhoods down heard me. That was a fun live stream and one of the longest ever. Let's see. Matthew says, are there Sunan Abi Dawud 203 t-shirts?
What is an Abu Dawud 203?
I think we thought of that before, never actually did it, and just put the eyes or the leather strap of the anus.
Oh, yeah.
Prophet Muhammad, and just wear that thing. And that would actually, the purpose of shirts like that, guys, is conversation starters, right? You wear a t-shirt like that, and then you're standing in line at the grocery store or something like that, and people are like, what? What's that? What is the eyes of the leather strap? And that allows you to start talking about Muhammad's awesome.
Remember, I had an idea once, which was that we should get the phrase framed, and should have it in the background of a video that we are recording. But we're talking seriously about things, but it's in the background on the wall, and we never ever reference it. We never even talk about it. It's just
that would be, and then people are like, "Hey, what's that?" And you're like, "What? What are you talking about?" We don't know what you're talking about. D Wood, favorite impression for you to do? Trump, Tate, Alex Jones. Not terribly used to Trump. I'll have to practice a little bit, but my initial versions people seem to like. I don't know, probably Ali Dawa, just because it's I don't know, he sounds like a weird leprechaun or something to me. According to the Quran, a eunuch could have a child. Quran 86, 5-7. A man's seed comes from between the backbone and ribcage. Scientific miracles. Yeah, it's funny because people have trouble figuring out what in the world that's talking about. You have Muslim commentaries who say between the backbone and ribs is actually talking about 2 different fluids, one from the man and one from the woman, and that they combine because Islam has it's historically called the 2 semens theory. Men have semen and women have semen, and then they mix together and so on. You see this a bunch in the Muslim sources. You even see it in the Quran. So the idea is, of course, you have the One interpretation that's just talking about the fluid comes from between this in this area, and that's all it's saying. That semen comes from between that area. But you do have Muslim commentary saying no. This is actually talking about two different fluids. And so wild
The best
stuff.
interpretation of that is Nader Ahmed's interpretation, where he just takes a human body and then looks at the human body from the bottom and says, when you look at it like this, then it all makes sense, because then the semen is indeed between the backbone and the ribs. So
Yeah, I think that might have been that Quran verse might have been Muhammad asking Diya al-Kalbi, "Hey, Diya al-Kalbi, where's the semen?" And he's like, "Well, from my perspective, like Alexander the Great, from his perspective, the sun was setting in a muddy pool. Well, let me tell you where the semen's setting, buddy."
you know what's funny? I had a debate with Nader Ahmed on Aaron Ross' channel way back in the day, when he used to host these debates, and he hosted a debate about the scientific miracles or scientific mistakes of the Quran. And it was I was debating with Nader Ahmed, and he kept insisting that yes, indeed, it is scientifically true, because if you look at a body from the bottom or the top, then you will see that the semen are between the backbones and ribs. And Aaron Ross, like, with his completely dead serious face, he's like, "Look, I don't want to get involved. I'm the moderator here, but it is not between the backbones and ribs. Stop with this absurdity."
Yeah, that's the thing. So Aaron Ra, he doesn't know like even basic philosophy, but he knows biology. He knows biology stuff. So hobo cops. What was you need to change your name to Bar Hobocop. This person you're talking about is merely aware that in the Bible there were prophecies of both the Messiah and Bar Hobo. That's true. And you got to take this because it's from Bar Hobocop. Saying Muhammad is in the Bible in Song of Solomon is like saying Luke Skywalker is in the Bible because there's a chapter named Luke. That is about the extent of it. It's, look, there's a name and it's similar to a word here. AP should debate Robert Spencer on is Momo real? Actually, I've done 2 debates on that. It's actually hard because you don't have any early sources, so it's rough. But it is fun. It is fun. It's fun to have it.
I think Momo is real.
Mm-hmm. So do I. AP, next debate, you should wear the Quran shirt. Oh, yeah, that's funny. I wasn't even thinking about that. Next debate with Muslims, we should have another 2-on-2, and we both show up in debate. Both show up to the debate in Quran shirts.
Hey, what is it? Why did Joseph Lockwood here try to copy our tattoo? What is it?
Yeah, his is different. His has the dove, but it looks like he got it in the same place.
Yeah.
Off topic, but have either of you heard of Greg Owen? He does story breakdown, but also goes against Tater Tot and the Brosphere. Hail Pope Apostate! Nope, not familiar with Greg Owen. You familiar with Greg
Owen? Haven't heard of him. No.
Talk to Robert Spencer about Garland, Texas event. That was a long time ago, man. That was
wasn't that where what's her name? Pamela Geller.
Pamela Geller.
And the others were.
And Robert Spencer. Yeah. That was Garland. That was Garland, Texas. Islamicized Me was loosely based on that. Because, and people who followed the entire thing of Islamicized Me know, but Vocab Malone was friends with one of those guys. He was friends with one of those guys. The guy converted to Islam. Vocab was talking to him and stuff, and he saw this guy becoming more and more radical until he goes and does a terrorist attack. So we were. Anyway, that played a role in forming that series, and so the series is loosely based on the idea of the guys converting to Islam, and then short time after that deciding they're going to commit a mass murder and so on. Is 2025 going to be the year of Dawa guys rage quitting debates? What debates? Are they going to be in any debates? You had one guy willing to debate, and he just rage quit in January, so it's not going to be a good year for debating. For them.
You know what I love about Dawa? It's like they have this very, very funny attitude. If in a debate one of their guys happens to do something that they can somehow interpret as as really good or as victorious, then they're like, yeah, let's all get together, invite this guy, yeah, woo woo. But then when they do embarrassing things like when Daniel Nikikicu completely goes into a debate, completely messes it up, or when Central Dawa here
And
goes into a debate,
let me tell you about my strap-on pleasure machine. It's like,
yeah,
what, dude? Shut up!
and,
Get out of here.
and when Central Dawa goes into a debate and then rage quits after threatening, suddenly none of their friends are around. All the other Dawa dudes, despite associating with them publicly, quite often are completely silent about the debate that just happened and completely
Yeah.
ignoring it, acting like it never happened.
And it's so pathetic because you had one guy who was willing to debate one. I mean, James is like scouring the world. There are 2 billion Muslims in the world. He's scouring the world trying to find one Muslim who would actually defend Muhammad. Almost impossible. Almost impossible. Gabe says, indeed, I try to go to the range at least once a week.
Powerful.
My friends in USA are considering Islam. What do I do? Learn a few things. As always, I would encourage you to get a copy of Greg Kokel's Tactics. Short book, but it's how you can get your friends to realize this isn't the point of the book. Well, the point of Tactics is keeping a conversation going, not getting someone to rage quit like AP does. Keeping it going by asking questions, but you can kind of lead them so they figure it out for themselves, the problems. And so get Tactics and start asking them some questions and have them look it up, because if they're considering Islam, they do not know anything about Islam. They don't. If they knew about it, they would not be thinking about converting to it. D. Wood, in prison, did you meet Hell's Angels and Mafia? Trying to think. No, I don't think so. But I wasn't exactly. I was East Coast. It's not exactly an area for like Hell's Angels and stuff. There were like bikers and stuff who'd been in biker gangs and stuff, but it wasn't like Hell's Angels. And as far as I can tell, not familiar with any. I mean, there would be a guy here or there who claimed to be in the mafia, but you can't tell who's just making stuff up and who's actually legit. But no, it was mainly 5%ers were the biggest group, apart from like, people who'd grown up as Christians. I mean, 5%ers there were lots of those guys who grew up Christians and so on. Anyway, 5%ers like a radical offshoot of the Nation of Islam. So the Nation of Islam is a heretical offshoot of Islam, and then you have a more radical offshoot of the Nation of Islam, the 5%. They were the biggest group, and then you had Muslims and some other groups, and then you occasionally have some like regular just gangs. Mosh says, AP forgot to read my super chat yesterday. Very rude. I said that in this rate, D. Wood should invest edible Qurans so that their provocations at least become nutritional. Yeah, because they've got the drinkable Qurans now. You get this little Quran page and you stick it in your water. It dissolves in the water and you drink it. I'm drinking the Quran. It's like, okay, well, we can eat it then. Don't complain. You should be happy if you think the Quran is healthy and so on. So yeah, we'll make it nutritional. David, I think you should seriously appeal your Second Amendment right to be revived. You're admirably decisive and persistent, and I'm sure you can get it done. I am sure that the moment they look at my record, they will say, this guy is a violent psychopath. No. So the only way there would be like a politician that I'm buddies with. So AP, go ahead and run for Congress and become a powerful congressman, and then you can fix that.
Done.
Why is everyone's except Nadir Ahmed running? It's always everyone except Nadir Ahmed running. D. Wood, because Nadir Ahmed is the only one with courage, because he lacks the common sense to realize how much he sucks at this. D. Wood's favorite Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer, or Dennis Quaid? I like Dennis Quaid's portrayal better. He seemed more realistic, but Doc Holliday had way cooler lines. I mean, Val Kilmer had way cooler lines. You don't know what this is about. There were 2 movies based on these guys. I mean, there have been a bunch of movies based on these guys, but there were 2 big ones right around the same time. And 2 different guys played Doc Holliday. Dennis Quaid played him better. What?
I know Giant DOC. That's what I know.
Okay. I thought you said Johnny Ringo for a second. I was like, oh, you do know what you're talking about. But no, you said Giant DOC.
Yeah.
Jack Ray says, my dad was born and raised on the east side of Wetzel County, West Virginia, west of Preston. Nice.
Almost. Hey,
Nice. We got the West Virginia
West
connection
Virginia.
and the A-Team connection. That's where I was watching it. Petition to rename Mormonism to Latter-day Islam. We should start doing that, Latter-day Islam. David, I remember seeing that episode when they threatened you. Jesus or Muhammad was a major reason I left Islam for Christ, in addition to Robert Spencer's and Nabil's books. That's cool. Yep, that was way back in the day. Allah had 99 names. Muslims discovered Allah's 100th name, Father. So we know his name, all-knowing, is wrong. Now he's back to 99 names. Nice. It's not that
You know what? You know what's funny? There were lots of good things during the in this debate yesterday, but there was one moment that apparently people liked a lot, which didn't even
wait. You mean a
drew my
lot, Alus and
attention.
Manat?
Yes.
Okay.
Which didn't even get my attention during the debate or even immediately afterwards. But there was one section where he was trying to convince me, or he was trying to make the point that that Muhammad must be the prophet in Deuteronomy 18 because it's talking about your brothers. So he tells me, he says, okay, AP. So here's a question. Answer me this question. If I say I give you this money, and I want you to give this to your brother, and you are Israel. Does this mean that that this money goes to you? And I'm like, no, it would go to my brother, and my brothers are other Israelis. So, and he then is completely dumbfounded and turns around and then nervously laughs and tries to change the angle because he just refuted himself.
Yeah, that would be stupid. So, AP, if I say give this to your brother, what are you going to do? Did he really expect you to say, oh, it would mean I have to give it to an Arab? What a dope, man. Oh, boy. Fox McLeod says, it's not that we had a lot of super chats here at the beginning. I was expecting to go for a couple minutes and then start the video, but okay, we'll go through these. It's not that the FBI is on the ball. It's that you guys are the honeypot for inbred Terrys. All they got to do is sit and wait for these goofballs to reveal themselves. I've said for years, if I were the FBI, I would say, hey guys, we want to use you guys as a trap. We want to use you guys as a trap to catch jihadis. And I'd be like, bet. We'll say, hey, any jihadis who man enough, any 50 of you who want to do something while we're peeing on the Quran, come and show up here. And just do that. And they could just be locking up the jihadis as they're showing up. FBI, if you're watching, we would totally do that in a heartbeat. Totally do that to help you catch jihadis, because guess what? If they're the kinds of guys who would gladly kill us, they would gladly kill someone else as well, and therefore probably good to nab these guys.
That's what they do.
So you heard it here. Offer stands. AP, you did awesome with Centreal Potato. It was hilarious when you were not answering to his stupidity and just laughing. He was so mad. Love your cross, by the way. Looks like a Catholic one.
Thank you. It is a Catholic one. Thank you.
Nice.
Appreciate that. I noticed that that he was getting really, 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 really badly angry when I would refuse to just answer his questions. So I started playing it even more. If you show me, if you're such a scumbag, and you show me what makes you so easily angry, I will just play toward that. You know?
That's hey, you're psychopath level right there. If you're going to be a scumbag, do not let the person you're going up against know what ticks you off, because that's like roadmap. So AP did it with Central Dawa specifically, but it's the same thing we do with Islam generally. Like we know what ticks that thing off, and so we do it more and more. Central Dawa debates are like badly dubbed comedy movie. He is speaking a different language. Nothing matches up. And we're all just there for the laughs. That is a perfect description. Love the guy. But it's funny because you're going to end up with all these TikTok Dawa guys now. And they're all going to be like that. And it's going to be something funny to watch. Central Dawa YouTube live section, last video, 138:20. 138:20. Can't check that now, but
I know what you're referring to.
What's
I think
that?
that you mean the that's the follow-up stream that he made after he left the debate to cope. During the debate, he said he said some really mean words. He said, yes, we do, we do consider it like that. We would also, I think he said, piss on you and so on or something like that. I don't know. He just
What?
doubled down on his things, on his threats. Oh, wait. No, that timestamp specifically is about you, actually.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
about you. You should
Oh, yeah.
check that out.
What do you say about me?
He started insulting you and your wife.
My wife?
Okay, actually, to be honest, I think it wasn't him. It was his friend who was with him on there. Started insulting us, started insulting me, and insulting you and your wife randomly.
Wasn't going after wives like what led to the whole eating the Quran thing? Isn't that what led to it?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Like Central Dawa, how many times are you going to do this, bud? You what?
But let me check that quickly to verify if that's really what this is in reference to.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to hang on here. I'll wait. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it until AP verifies. AP has to verify that they said something about my wife. Just have to verify. All right. I'll go ahead and read the next comment here as AP does his careful investigation. Notice, guys, we're careful. We're careful. We're careful. We do not punish those who are not guilty. Chloe says, I'm donating an indulgence to you before I give another to a local Catholic church. I'm yet to join any. I'm too recluse, autistic, paranoid, schizoid. All those? I'm saying that because I have a couple different problems. But that would be even more. Kebab, which watch Mein Kleiner Türke from Snicklink, or his video about Elon Musk and Alice Weidel talking about Döner. Also,
all right, I just checked
Rocky
it.
3 Auge des Dürums. What?
I just checked. It is indeed about you, where he says apostate something, and then scam Shimon, and then David no wood. He doesn't have wood. That's why his girl gets. And then he continues, and I just don't want to say the rest to you.
We're being nice, guys. We're being nice because you're rookies, right? You're new. Some people might not know any better. But this is for this is not for Central. This is for his buddy.
Yeah.
This is for his buddy. Okay. Let's keep going. Hey, do you understand what this is? Kebab.
Kebab. Watch Mein Kleiner Türke from here. Yes. It's a Turkish kebab.
No, we don't like anything Turkish here. Turkey. Has anything good ever come out of there? The Nazi Welt said, Hey, AP, check this out.
I had to quickly get my Quran from the ground.
Hey, you got NP here. You got NP saying, the Nazis Welt said God is with us. He also, presumably talking about Hitler, banned secular education, believing Christianity was the basis of morality. This is pretty standard.
I'm not sure if this is. There are usually two kinds of people who make this argument. One of those are those who are in denial and who want to hold on to the Nazis and say they were good, they believed in Christianity, and the others who are
want to link them because they hate them. Yeah.
And
because they hate Christianity.
Who hate Christianity and also hate the Nazis and want to connect them. Yes, the Nazis did indeed have God with us on their belts, the soldiers. This is something that they had before the Nazis rose to power. It is something that they maintained and continued. In fact, this was very, very crucial to how the Nazis treated religion in their Nazi society. They wanted to appeal to the religious population as much as possible to win them over and to get their support and then slowly take them in and use them from within. I have a book here that just arrived today which is a very well-known book, actually. The Aryan Jesus, Christian Theologians, and the Bible in Nazi Germany,
We see what AP reads in his free time.
which exposes and explains this in great detail. Hitler's plan and the plan of the main Nazi leadership, including Goebbels, who was Hitler's most trusted and closest guy, had the very, very clear plan of infiltrating and slowly destroying, detaching Christianity from its roots, taking it over and creating their own form of Christianity, which has nothing to do with traditional Christianity, but which is a new Nazi religion, which they can then use in order to further their racial supremacy and anti-Jewish agenda. This is what they were going for. Any other system that was contrary to what Hitler was going for was not beneficial. Keeping religious rule in place was, for the time being, beneficial. And according to Goebbels, his most trusted guy, according to his authentic diaries, and I can quote them, I have them all marked, the Hitler's goal was to, after the war, tackle and subjugate the churches in order to establish his new Christian religion, which was called Positive Christianity, which would remove everything that is bad from Christianity, meaning everything that is Jewish, everything that is traditional, and turn it into something that is all about power. Really messed up.
Yeah, that's actually going to connect to what
We're going to watch a video by with Tom Holland in it, and as far as he's either an atheist or an agnostic historian. But he talks about this stuff. Very interesting stuff. Very, very smart guy. Thumbnail, my favorite dude with two guys I'm not so sure about. Groiper alert. An idle body is a devil's playground. SOS number 1. I'm not sure what I'm going through what we were talking about and what that could actually be a response to. David, what's your thoughts on Jordan Peterson? I like him. Pretty cool guy.
pretty cool.
Central Dawa about to do a debate review in less than 10 minutes. Oh, that's interesting. Biddy's gonna cry. You guys must be so happy down in the States. Trump is making really good and fast policies towards mass and illegal immigration. I have to say I've never had a terrible problem with Mexicans or anything. I understand you gotta worry about the you gotta worry about people smuggling drugs and things like that, and gangs and so on. But as far as people who crossed the border because they just want to find a job and so on, I understand. And if you want to make policies saying, hey, no, you got to do it illegal and stuff like that, I'm just saying it's never been like a priority in my mind. Like, oh no, we have to get these people. Okay, I'm way more concerned about like jihad and terrorism and stuff like that than some guy sneaking across the border and working or something like that. But yeah, they are cracking down real quick, and they are, as far as what I've seen, and they said they're going to do this. They said they're going to prioritize criminals. But yeah, I've seen videos over the past couple of days of them rolling up on people and like, look, you've been charged with 17 crimes over the years since you've been here, and you still haven't been deported. You're being deported right now.
Beast.
Is Nabil's family doing well? Not sure about his Muslim family. Haven't heard from them. Michelle, yep, she's doing well. What do you get when you mix an LDS with LSD? You get a high priest. People got jokes. AP humiliated D Wood on X an hour ago. Kufr fight off. What'd you say about me, man?
I didn't say anything.
Well,
it's probably because I posted a gun photo.
Oh, yeah. People were saying, hey, poor David. Yeah. It's like you're making fun of me. Central Dawa has review now. He cries. I bet he does. Cry more, cry. Ein Berliner mit Berliner said, Alice Weidel called a mustache guy a leftist. What are your opinions on that? This week on Maischberger, she explained why. I thought I should ask the Turkish expert on this topic. So, what do you think? There's a reason for it. I mean, the Nazi Party stood for a type of socialism. It's not normal socialism, whatever they're calling it. So
Yeah.
I don't, you know,
So the whole thing, the whole socio-political approach is generally that the Nazi Party and Nazi ideology was leaning on leftist ideas in order to appeal to the workers and the farmers and those most in need for reform in society. So they had socialist approaches in order to appeal to those to the poor masses and all those in order to get their support. It was ultimately not really socialism, but it was kind of a combination of socialism and capitalism and control under the dictatorship of Hitler. It wouldn't be like the state having control over everything. It was the state having control over companies that have control over everything and so on. So insofar, it was kind of a form of socialism. But I know that she called Hitler a leftist. She called him a socialist, which is not really disputable because his party was literally called the National Socialist Party. So, but she also called him a communist, which is a little bit, which goes a little bit too far off. He was not a communist. Communist would be a little bit too different. So he definitely had some leftist aspects. Yeah, that's all I can say. I need to see what else she said about this. I need to see that. But the thing about Hitler is that he just did whatever would get him support and sympathy whenever he needed it. And that was also the justified policy of his party. It was that Hitler is always right. This was literally Nazi policy. The Führer is always right. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to win people over. So let him do his thing. And if he contradicts himself from today to tomorrow, there is a reason to it, and we'll just follow through with it. So he just appealed to any side to gain more and more power.
pretty smart. Pretty smart. 1 second. Wanted to check this out. What is this? Really want to tick off Muslims say G block. You know what that means?
I think there's some guys keep spamming this whole G block thing. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, anyone know what that means?
Nope.
Chloe here says, does anyone remember the scene in Sophie's Choice where the Nazi officer asks if she believes in Christ the Redeemer before the choice?
I never saw it.
What? You should. I'm trying to remember. I'm seeing if I could find it because she wasn't Jewish in the movie. She's Polish Catholic or something like that, and so I think it was brutal. Hey, you believe in Christ, and then he gets slick after that.
Yeah,
she tries to get out of it. She tries to get out of it by saying, "Hey, I'm a Christian. I'm not," and it doesn't work because they didn't.
I want to quickly read just an introduction from this book here, very very briefly to give people an idea.
Is that your Aryan book?
Yeah, my Aryan Jesus book.
Here we have.
This is a very scholarly book. It's one of the most credible accounts on what the Nazis were up to with religion and Christianity.
Here we have everyone on on our live stream. AP reading about the Aryan Jesus. Go ahead.
Powerful. So at noon on Saturday, May 6, 1939, a group of Protestant theologians, pastors, and churchgoers gathered at the historic Wartburg Castle, resonant with Lutheran and nationalist significance, to celebrate the official opening, look, it says a group, to celebrate the official opening of the Institute for the Study and Eradication of Jewish Influence on German Church Life. This is an actual institution that that the Nazis created. Institut zur Erforschung und Beseitigung des jüdischen Einflusses auf das deutsche kirchliche Leben. That's the German name for it. The Institute's goals were both political and theological, seeking to create a de-Judaized church for a Germany that was in the process of ridding Europe of all Jews. It developed new biblical interpretations and liturgical materials. In the 6 years of its existence, as the Nazi regime carried out its genocide of the Jews, the Institute redefined Christianity as a Germanic religion whose founder, Jesus, was no Jew, but rather had fought valiantly to destroy Judaism. Falling as victim to that struggle, Germans were now called upon to be the victors in Jesus' own struggle against the Jews, who were said to be seeking Germany's destruction. It gets even worse. On the theological level, the Institute achieved a remarkable success, winning support for its radical agenda from a host of church officials and theology professors who welcomed the removal of Jewish elements from Christian scripture and liturgy, and the redefinition of Christianity as a Germanic Aryan religion. Members of the Institute worked devotedly, as did so many others in the Reich, to win the fight against the Jews. Their devotion took them to greater and greater extremes, abandoning traditional Christian doctrine in exchange for coalitions with neo-pagan leaders, and producing vituperative propaganda on behalf of the Reich's measures against the Jews. Aryan for them meant not simply a physical or biological body type, but much more an inner spirit that was simultaneously of great power and also profoundly vulnerable and in need of protection from the degeneracy threatened by non-Aryans, particularly the Jews. In Nazi Germany, racial hygiene was the field, and so on. It continues, and just one more part here. Theirs was a goal of purification, authenticity, and theological revolution, all in the name of historical critical methods and commitment to Germanness, to be achieved by eradicating the Jewish from the Christian. A Christian message tainted by Jewishness could not serve Germans, nor could a Jewish message be the accurate teaching of Jesus. It then continues with the German Christian movement and how this developed in form. But so the main idea here is they take Christianity under the Nazi leadership, and instead of living by Christianity, what they do is they see this as a useful tool that has some good aspects. Jesus is a guy to look up to, but they don't like Jesus as he actually was. They don't like Jesus as he's actually depicted. They don't like Jesus as he actually spoke. They don't like the early church fathers and the apostles and the disciples as they actually lived, and so on. So they want to take this figure and want to change basically everything about them. They want to change everything about the scripture, everything about the figures, everything about the apostles, everything about the fathers, and turn it into their own ideal religion, which at that point has nothing at all to do with what Christianity actually is. And they went to such extremes that they actually started raiding churches later on, and taking down any images or icons that contradict their view of Jesus, depicting him, instead of suffering for humanity, depicting him as this heroic figure who is fighting and then being killed by the evil Jews. And they even started removing the Bible. They actually had a process of the German or de-Judaized Bible, as it was called temporarily, where they just like the some of the Gnostic sects, the Marcionites and others, they started getting rid of the Old Testament altogether and only going with the New Testament, and also adding new sections written by the Nazis themselves to the Bible, which was supposed to replace the Bible that they have. So these people were really messed up. They really didn't want Christianity as it is. They wanted to change it.
So you're saying the Groypers have it right. And the Germans were big fans.
Very, very, very big fans of
Everyone
Hitler.
getting, but you know what? It actually kind of makes sense for them to take that guy as their model, because that's they're doing the same thing, right? It's we want this kind of Jesus to be the champion of our movement of racially segregating everyone, and us being they're doing the same thing, and so of course they would look up to a little mustache guy. But yeah, hey, Chloe, I went ahead and looked it up. AP, do you even know what Sophie's Choice is about?
Yeah, I do. I just never saw the movie. That's
Okay.
weird.
So yeah, this is I went ahead and looked it up. So she tries to plead as they're bringing her and her she has a son and a daughter, and they're bringing her to the camp. I forget which one, Auschwitz or something like that. Yeah, Auschwitz. And she tries to plead with them saying, "Hey, I'm not a Jew." And so she's a Polish Catholic. And so the German officer says, "So you believe in Christ, the Redeemer?" And she says, "Yes." And the doctor then says, "Did he not say, 'Suffer the little children to come unto me'?" Then he says, "You may keep one of your children." So that leads to Sophie's Choice. He says, "Hey, you're a Christian. I'll let you keep one of your children." And so she has to pick which child, her son or daughter, goes to the oven. And she ends up picking her son after pleading and begging. And it's basically, if you don't pick one, I'm going to kill both of them. So pick one. So she has to pick one. Her daughter's carried off screaming. But then her son dies later anyway. So, but yep, rough stuff. What percentage of you is goat? Always eating the Quran. Love you guys. Keep it up. We'll try. See, we only eat the Quran in response to other people crossing lines, but they're habitual line crossers, so we just end up doing it. And AP saw his script backstage. Ha ha ha. You saw his script. As long as you say that Christ is the Word of God and Spirit, why do you accuse us of being hederiest? Thus we respond to Muslims by calling them mutilators of God. I think that's a quote. Isn't that a quote? As far as the mutilators of God, was that John of Damascus? I'm trying to think. Dawa guys have really degenerated Shabir Ali. Shabir Ali was wrong, but at least civil compared to Ali Dawa and these other jokers. Yes, that's the situation they're now in. And people like Shabir were significantly, massively more intelligent. Now you've got a button. Now you've. That's what I mean. It's like, look at the trajectory. Said this yesterday. If the trajectory continues, so you used to have Shabir Ali and Jamal Badawi and these kinds of guys, and then you end up with Hijab and Ali Dawa and these kinds of guys, and now you've got Central Dawa and like TikTok guys and Lily J. Lily J. That's who you got. I don't think I've ever seen super chats come in this fast to where there's this many before we even get to the topic. I might have to do a couple more and we'll have to jump into this video.
I forgot that I made a community community post challenging Lily J to a debate.
Did you? Hey, dude, you might want to, hey, seriously, you might want to put out a short video saying, hey, I was supposed to debate Central Dawa, but he had a complete meltdown after one debate. So, hey, Muhammad Hijab, because here's what I find amazing. Your average Dawa fan thinks we're running from these guys and not that they refuse to debate this stuff. I mean, think every Dawa guy, if they really believed in Muhammad, that they could prove Muhammad, why wouldn't they just keep challenging us? Yes, let's debate Muhammad. We'll show you that Muhammad's. They won't go near Muhammad. They won't touch him with a 1,000-foot pole in debate. They're terrified. Yeah, I wouldn't either because the guy's covered in semen. It's nasty. But so your average Dawa fan thinks everyone's scared of these guys when in reality, so you should put out a video and say, I challenge Zakir Naik, Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawa, Sheikh Uthman, any of these guys. Go down the list of every Dawa guy you can come up with to show up and debate me on, was Muhammad a true prophet? And tell the real target group, the real target audience in the video is their fans, and say, of course you're not going to do it. I don't believe you'll do it. But I want all of you fans out there, all you Dawa fans, to look at this. I'm giving them an open invitation to come and destroy and humiliate me and to show the entire world and all the audience and all the atheists and all the Christians, everyone, that Muhammad's a true prophet. Is any one of these guys going to step up? Answer, no. 0% chance.
I could do this right here, and people could just clip it. I could just say, I challenge to debate me on this topic. The primary three people that I challenge to debate me on this topic are Lily J, Mohammed Hijab, and Sheikh Uthman.
What about Zakir Naik? Would you debate him?
He's too low.
Not good enough. Yeah, he's fallen out. Even Muslims don't pay attention to him anymore.
Yeah.
The Meek the Mild says, it's oddly satisfying to see a page of the Quran slowly disappear while you chew it. I know that. I know what I'm about. I know what I'm about, the Meek and the Mild. Apostate Prophet, read Dominion by Tom Holland.
I think I have it somewhere, and I actually partly read it, but I never read it through. So
Yeah, we're going to be watching a video by Tom Holland here. The only plausible mention of Muhammad in the Bible is the title of the prophet Daniel. Example, Daniel 10-11, who had revelations from the angel Gabriel. Islam plagiarized this for their fake prophet. They definitely plagiarized quite a bit. 8 days ago, Majid Nawaz was on Winston Marshall defending the Quran against the gangs. Could you comment? I will not comment, but I wouldn't mind watching it and then reviewing it in a live stream.
it would be torture because the guy is just a complete nut job. I mean, he's just he has completely. He was always a little bit strange, but he has just become a complete lunatic.
We will check it out. You guys would probably like Peterson's series on the Gospels.
Probably.
Maybe. Hello, David and Bar Hobo. Yes, Bar Hobo. Let's see. Regarding Nabi al-Ummi, it doesn't mean unlettered prophet as Muslims think. It means prophet to the nations, which is an allusion to Jeremiah 1-5. Yeah, there is a lot of confusion about what that... One, how it should be even translated in the Quran, but then where is Muhammad getting this from? Because, there's lots of these earlier sources like Syriac and so on, and then the meanings of words change and so on. So, do you think Fuentes will get deported? Fingers crossed. I'm Mexican. Imagine deporting a white supremacist.
He's a Mexican. You have to correct.
Anyone here know who Tarkin? It doesn't AP look like him. Let me know. What are you grinning at? You know who Tarkin is?
That's a Turkish pop singer who was very famous in the past.
Thanks for the logo software and some of your videos, but I'm better off watching Steven Crowder. Take care. Nice. Let's see. By the way, I have proof that ChatGPT thinks Gabriel in Islam is Satan. Hang on. I have proof that ChatGPT thinks Gabriel in Islam is Satan. I have proof. Where can I send it? And I have when I asked about the mode too. Send it to us on Twitter. Tag us in Twitter and share the video. The Dictators, Hitler's Germany and Stalin's Russia 2004 is a very good comparison and contrast of their systems. Interesting. Tom Holland has a great book disproving Islam called In the Shadow of the Sword. No one can disprove Islam because it's very strong and based. We have El Quran Hubbard. Thank you. It's not natural that Jews receive so much bias and hate. The enemy of our souls fights hard, but we are not unaware of his schemes. That is true. That's why I've said there seems to be something demonic about the obsession with going after Jews. AP with glasses looks like scholar of Christianity. He does.
He does.
Everyone notices that too. D-Wood, AP, check out a song I made for you guys called What's the Injil? On ground level theology. D-Wood, let me know what you think of the surah list in it. I'll screenshot this for later. Hitler and his henchmen were Russians doing as Stalin ordered. Otherwise, Hitler's reasoning for waging World War II doesn't make sense. I feel quite certain about this theory. What do you think?
Well, they were actually Neanderthals, I would say.
Yeah, T-Turbine, I'm assuming you're joking because I think that would be seriously silly. Syncretism is the biggest heresy by far. No, Islam is. Hello, and God bless AP and D Wood. Thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Giordani.
Roses are red, Dawa is dead. Ridvan is net, David is netter. Netta? German Döner is better. Nein, this is besser. Debates get heated. Centrala Comedy got beated. Quran got eated. It's probably the most powerful poem ever. Love your vids, David and AP. Any secret YouTube advice? Yeah, figure out your target audience. Figure out your niche or niche, depending on which way you go. Make sure it's something you're interested in, because otherwise it won't be fun. And If you can figure out an angle that other people aren't taking, then go with that. And one problem people have is they try to be too general because they try to win over the entire world when you're actually better off focusing on something fairly narrow, because then the people who, if you're general, then you're not getting any sort of target audience. If you have some narrower focus, you're more likely to, in other words, to put it in simple terms, if you had a baking channel, let's say you have a baking channel versus a vegan baking channel, right? So you would think a baking channel in general, maybe you have some vegan recipes, would do better. But guess what? There are trillions of baking channels. So if you have something more specific that draws the attention of people who have a narrower focus. So if you had a vegan baking channel, keep in mind, I'm not saying or supporting vegan baking. I'm just an example that there is a bunch of weird people in the world and you can find them.
God forbid.
Yeah, if you have a vegan baking channel, then all the people who aren't interested in most of the recipes on the general baking channels will go to your channel. In other words, there's enough vegans on the planet who want to bake things that you could actually get a better following on a narrower topic than on the broader topic. So in other words, there's lots of competition out there. If you find something more like a narrower area to deal with, you can actually find all the people in the world who are interested in that specifically and not interested necessarily in all the other stuff on the more general channels. Apart from that, you don't need to reinvent everything as you go along. There are lots of YouTube channels out there that explain all the basics and so on. And so watch a ton of tutorials and so on. Anyone interested in this needs to listen to the Rest in History podcast, Holland co-hosting series on the Nazi rise to power. Absolutely fascinating. I am interested in that, and I will check that out. I like this Tom Holland guy. He's super cool and based. Maybe collab with Tick History later when talking about Hitler, World War II, and relevant histories are right up his alley. Yes, and you must talk to Nick Fuentes who will educate you. No, just kidding.
No, Tick History is actually a good.
Yeah,
it's a. Yeah.
All ham to Allah. Gabar. Do we know it was Muhammad's semen on him? No, we don't.
We don't have any.
Yeah,
proof.
you know he's covered in semen. We know he had lots of private meetings with Dihya al-Kalbi, claiming that he was the angel Gabriel, and that's what we know. So draw your own.
It could be his camel. It could be a goat. It could be Dihya.
Goat.
It could be somebody else. It could be.
We don't know.
We don't.
I second Tick History on National Socialism, etc. I mean, et al. Yeah, I will check it out. Kebab is Middle Eastern, not Muslim. I'm a Syrian Christian, and I make bacon kebabs with chicken. I call them haram kebabs. That sounds delicious. I'll try some haram kebabs. AP, you need to add minstrel dawa saying, "We condemn Allah" to your soundboard. Maybe combine it with Peterson's "I don't buy your Allah." That'd be good.
There's so much idea that I need to.
Yeah, it sounds like there's going to be like a trillion clips to draw from that. Your Twitter, and don't judge the writing. Just look up the Apostate Prophet on Twitter, or if you look up my channel is at Act17 David, I think, like that. But if you just look up David Wood, I'll pop up. What are your Twitter names? Oh yeah, I'm Dr. David Wood. I put the doctor in there specifically. I put the doctor. I just normally went by David Wood or Act17. I put the doctor in there back when I was getting banned. I was like, I wonder if they'll be less likely to block me if I sound fancier. So I just put it in there. I mean, keep in mind, I do have a PhD and stuff like that, but I normally don't. I didn't end up going after I got it. I didn't go and end up going in the academic route. So I don't usually call myself doctor and so on. But I did there just to keep from getting blocked. But yeah, then Elon took over, so I don't even need it anymore.
You should be one of those people who are like, whenever somebody refers to you with just by your name, you're like, Dr. David Wood. Please.
Yeah, Dr. David Wood. I'll do that on a plane once. Oh no, this guy fell over. Is anyone a doctor? I'm a doctor. I'll take care of this guy. Eating Quran pages, I'd worry about the ink could have cadmium or something nasty in it. There are other ways to desecrate. Of course there are. But if you think we deal with jihadis on a regular basis, you think we're scared of a little bit of cadmium? Come on. AP, please don't insult Neanderthals like that. Good point. Central said, a thorn in AP's side like with Paul. Please read 2 Corinthians 12:7 to see who the thorn was from.
Isn't it the thorn is from the devil, and
Yep.
he asks for the thorn to be removed, but the thorn is not removed because the grace of God is enough, and so on.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the reference is?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's from Satan. So Central Dawa is basically saying that he's Satan, that he's
That's
Satan.
very funny.
And yeah. No, it is funny. Now there is discussion because Paul doesn't explain what the thorn in his side is, and you have it's some sort of sin. There are lots of commentators who think it's really bad eyesight because there are other passages that sound like he did not have, like he was losing his vision or something like that. And so it was Paul who would go around and heal other people, even raise people from the dead and so on. And so he gets to where he's got a problem and he's praying, hey, can you take care of this? And no, not happening. And so it's my grace is sufficient for you. Interesting stuff. It's interesting. What's interesting is how well AP is learning the Bible. AP, I sent you an email about how the people of Khyber are funding their jihad. It's disgusting. God bless.
I shall check it out.
The people of Khyber are funding their jihad. Love your stuff. Been watching you for a bit now and even got me to read Nabil's book. Question is now, whose beard is better between... Oh, AP's by far. Anyone from that region of the world is going to have a better beard than I do. It's just a fact.
Are you sure? You just need to take care of it, and you can have a Viking beard.
No, I really can't. See, I would love to have one of those long beards, but mine's kind of like... Mine grows like straight out. It grows straight out. It doesn't grow like down.
Mine doesn't work well either because it becomes very thin and weird and irregular, and then just gets like kind of strange.
Yeah, and it's not even like parts of it grow faster than other parts and everything. So I just try to keep it nice and short. And
I can't even. Yeah.
And I have to. And the reason for having a beard is because you have all these Dawa guys that we deal with who are attracted to guys without beards because they don't think it's gay if they're attracted to a guy without a beard. But they think it's gay if you're attracted to a guy with a beard. So,
powerful.
That's weird. Now, if you ask about Nabil, she was asking about Nabil. If you're including Nabil, Griffin there was including Nabil. If you're including Nabil, Nabil had the best beard. You grow a beard really fast. Nabil could grow a beard in like 3 or 4 days, and I'd be like, gosh, man. And Nabil also, people don't know this. Nabil also, there was no break in his hair from his head down, right? Like he has his hair and it goes straight down into his beard. His hair goes right down his neck, onto his chest, down his belly, all the way down his legs, all the way to his toes. It was nonstop. I know because we shared a hotel room many times, and every time he took a shower, there was like a carpet in there. There was like a carpet inside the shower and outside the shower of disgusting hair. And I've mentioned this once or twice before, but he called in a favor on his wedding day and said, hey, I got clippers. Can you shave my back? And I'm like, I'm not shaving your back, man. What the heck is wrong with you? He's like, it's my wedding day, man. It's my wedding day. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Give me the clippers. I actually shaved his back. He didn't want his wife to know how horribly hairy he is. Turns out though, and I don't even know if he should be sharing this, but he told me later, he's like, oh no, it turns out she likes super hairy dudes. She calls me her hairy man beast. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good. Good to know, man. Fun times. See that, guys? You're getting all the stuff that you didn't read in Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus.
We're supposed to be watching are we watching the Spider-Man movie? What are we doing?
Yeah, we're about to. We're finally at the end. We got these last two. This is, my goodness, this has been a bunch of super chats before we ever got to a topic. I don't think I've ever had this many this quickly. But AP asking permission to use your AI music, please.
Granted.
You have been granted the permission. So if anyone objects, you can say you can refer them to this clip. Muslims are bootleg rabbinic Jews, the OGs of syncretism. Is that true, AP?
No.
It's not. AP says that's not true. So nice try. Better luck next time. Nabil sounds a lot like Dihya al-Kalbi. As far as his looks, no. I think Dihya al-Kalbi would have probably been one of these like kind of boy looking guys. He was known for showing up, and he's like the handsomest guy in town. Now Nabil was a very handsome guy and so on. But I don't know, when I'm picturing Dihya al-Kalbi, I'm not picturing like hairy dude. So anyway, I'm thinking like young. If he does have a beard, it's like some little weird, some little tiny little like chin strap type deal, just so he kind of looks like a smooth skinned boy for Muhammad, but just enough of a beard so he can say, hey, don't everyone treat me like a
This is
girl.
getting very weird, man.
It is. So anyway,
I think we should watch the movie.
we're here. We finally got through them. Thank you for all of the super chats, everyone. That was tons of them, and that was fun, and a bunch of fun. It's always weird because like there'll be a bunch of super chats, and I'll be like, oh, maybe we should just go to the topic. Oh no, this is an interesting super chat. Let me go and click on this one. But anyway, I just keep clicking and clicking because they're good stuff. Anyway, all right, guys. So let me find what this file is called. I forget what I called it. Oh, why Hitler? There we go. All right, you ready? Ding, ding, ding. Very fine. Oh, dude, it just did it. Where your mic shoots up.
Powerful.
What kind of weirdness is that? Now you're super loud.
Powerful. Hello. Test.
Nazis
There
repudiate.
it goes. Went back to normal. All right, everyone. Here's Tom Holland being interviewed. The video is titled what?
Is that him?
Yeah, that's the guy who played Spider-Man.
He looks very different from how he is in movies, man.
Yeah, because they have him in a costume. And stuff is CGI nowadays, man. Stuff is CGI.
Huh.
So you can get this guy and then just CGI him and make him look like a young guy. And then most of the time it's like a stunt double in a Spider-Man costume, so you don't even have to worry about that stuff. All right. So here we have Tom Holland, ladies and gentlemen, either an atheist or an agnostic, I forget which. Historian. He wrote the book Dominion, which is about Christianity's impact on the world. Very different from what he wrote about Islam. But here's him commenting on why the Germans, Hitler in particular, did not like Christianity. Hated it, in fact. But here we go. Here's a historian. So notice we're not going to Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens to get our history.
Those are the real historians. We're going to the fake ones.
Yes, we go to the fake one.
The Nazis repudiated two of the fundamental values that Christianity has always enshrined, and one of them you just touched on, the idea that the survival of the fittest, that the idea that to be strong is to be good. It's kind of fairly fundamental idea, say for the Greeks. I mean, they kind of conflated, the good beauty and a goodness and strength. This it was to be a good person.
Is that correct, AP?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we are going to have to pause at various places because I've just noticed, as far as getting copyright complaints and so on, the things that are taken from people's shows that aren't just like this is a show, and the show is off-site. It's a clip that's online, but the show is off-site. But YouTube is a little bit quicker to give you some sort of copyright strike or notice or something like that if you just post a long clip, if you just go through a long clip of someone's who has a show off-site. So I have to stop it every few seconds. But so anyway, goodness is power. The Germans wanted goodness to be connected to power. Power is good, and the portrayal in Christianity of voluntarily humbling yourself and so on did not go along with that. So let's go. And Jesus praising the meek and so on.
But of course, the other fundamental Christian ideal that the Nazis repudiate is the idea that, as Paul put it, there is no Jew or Greek. And that in turn is a kind of refinement of the teaching of Genesis, that God creates man and woman in his image. And therefore, if men and women are created in the image of God, every human being has an inherent dignity. And
catch that, everyone? So Genesis, multiple passages. Human beings are created in the image of God. Men and women are created in the image of God. And Tom Holland just connected that to the Apostle Paul, saying that there's no longer Jew or Greek. Men male or female, slave or free, you are all one. So there's this unity. There's this unity of all people. And the Germans didn't like that because there's a conflict. There's an obstacle, an ideological obstacle to going around and exterminating other people if you are convinced that those people are created in the image of God and that you're all supposed to be one with them. And specifically what he pointed out, neither Jew nor Greek, you're united. It's kind of hard if you want this racial group gone.
This is an idea that over the course of the Middle Ages kind of feeds into the idea that human beings have rights. That if, and this is something that that churchmen and lawyers in the 12th century start to extrapolate from the gospel teachings. If Christ is saying to the wealthy, you have a duty to feed the hungry and to clothe those who have no clothes and to give shelter to those who are homeless, then it follows that the hungry have a right to food, and those without clothes have a right to clothes, and those who don't have a home have a right to a home. And so you start to get the idea that human beings have inherent rights.
You're a mutant.
Shame on you. This is interesting because now when people hear, hey, you rich people, and communists and socialists use this. Communists and socialists use this, right? That Jesus is telling, hey, if you have stuff, you should help out people who don't have stuff. And they say, hey, you see, that's exactly what communism and socialism are. Very different. It's very different saying to a wealthy person, you should do what you can to help people who are hungry or who can't afford things. You should try and help. Very different from the government taking your stuff and redistributing it, right? Those are two completely different systems. I don't want the government taking my stuff and then redistributing it to people. I do think it's good for people who are more fortunate to help those who are less fortunate, which would be the biblical idea. But he's talking about how these things and actually concern for other people leads to the idea of rights for everyone.
And these are ideas that secularized feed into the American Revolution, into the French Revolution, into United Nations. It's a very, very profound idea that today, for lots of people who believe in human rights, they tend to kind of assume that they are imminent. But in the long run, when you look at it in the kind of historical perspective, to believe in human rights requires just as much a leap of faith as believing that the Lord Jesus Christ rose on the third day and ascended into heaven.
Whoa! Did you catch that, AP? I don't know if you were looking at something or pulling something up. That's huge, guy. I want to make a video about that.
Yeah, repeat that.
We're going to repeat that. So, guys, he just said two things. He said two things. And Jordan Peterson has pointed this out as well. The idea that all human beings are well, we wouldn't even say created nowadays for lots of atheists and so on, but the idea that all human beings have rights and so on, this idea goes back to an idea about human beings being created in the image of God and so on, and this basically works its way through Western civilization until it becomes completely normal. And he's about to go on and talk about how we encounter other cultures, and it's like shocking to us now to find out that not everyone believes in these same things, this idea of rights. Because Peterson has pointed this out. He says it's become so normal to us that we think it's just normal. He was talking about this to Richard Dawkins. He says it's great that we've gotten to a point in history where we think that this idea that all human beings have dignity and rights and so on is just normal and natural. He says it's not. We know historically that it's not. That's not. We're the weird ones. If you look at all of history, this is very strange. What we are doing is very strange and very different from other parts of the world and from most other times in history. But we think it's normal and therefore it doesn't need a foundation because it's just obvious to us. It's just obvious to us that people have rights and so on. Why? Because we are raised in an environment where that's taught as normal. But the second thing he said, believing that people just have these innate rights, He says that requires every bit as much of a leap of faith as believing that Jesus rose from the dead, right? Like where are you getting, where are these rights just springing up? It's like, it's something miraculous, right? Like, oh, here's a living thing. It just has rights and you have to respect those rights. Where are you getting that from? I mean, think of like a couple of lions fighting with a bunch of hyenas or something like that, and they're killing each other. Where's the concept of rights? Like we even have a concept of animal rights that animals should be respected. Where are you getting that? Like just from nature? It just doesn't spontaneously arise. You have to get that idea from somewhere. And he's saying it's a leap of faith. In other words, if you're an atheist and you don't believe we're created in the image of God and so on, like where are these rights coming from? Where every human being has this just inherent dignity and worth and so on, and therefore has certain rights. Where's that coming from? You can't defend it from your position. You have to say why. Why do you have this? And if you just say, well, but we just know by magic. Okay, it's like saying you just know God exists, or you just know that Jesus rose from the dead or something. So anyway, let me back that up because that's pretty
good.
It's pretty dope and based.
Super based.
Inherent rights. And these are ideas that secularized feed into the American Revolution, into the French Revolution, into United Nations. It's a very, very profound idea that today, for lots of people who believe in human rights, they tend to kind of assume that they are imminent. But in the long run, when you look at it in the kind of historical perspective, to believe in human rights requires just as much a leap of faith as believing that the Lord Jesus Christ rose on the third day and ascended into heaven.
This is very, very. This sounds very, very much, and this is. I think this is very much a foundation of his book, or one of the foundations of his book, Dominion, as far as I understand it. But this sounds very, very familiar to, or very similar to, what we recently talked about when you, for example, mentioned A.P. Chesterton's view on the development of morality.
Did you do that on purpose? That's messed up.
Yes.
A.P. Chesterton.
When you mentioned G.K. Chesterton's view on, or his explanation of morality and the adoption of Christian morals and their corruption and erosion, but their ironic use and so on, it is quite incredible how you have the religious ideas that come from Christianity as a foundation, as a basis for morality. You have them teaching you these morals and teaching you what is good and what is wrong, or what is bad, teaching you what is right and what is wrong, teaching you the whole inherent value of a human being. But as people go further into the future and secularize themselves and detach themselves from the religion itself, they still hold on to those values without realizing that they got those values themselves from the very religion and the tradition that they are trying to detach themselves from. It's pretty based.
Yep. And the comment here, the UN, lol, because now we're looking at the UN being like, what are you talking about, this garbage system? The UN is actually a perfect example of what's going on here, right? He says, hey, you have in Western society, influenced by certain teachings from the Bible that filter their way through society, that human beings are this certain kind of thing. And this causes people to say, hey, even people in other parts of the world, in other countries and so on, who disagree with us, they have rights too. And we should be interested in helping them and all working together with them as well. And so we'll form something like the United Nations. And we think everyone's on the same page. And we don't realize some of the people that you just brought in have very, very different views. And there are other people who don't believe in these kinds of rights, who don't believe in that, who will see the UN as something to take advantage of, right? Aha, these people think that we're all on the same side and we all are going to work together. No, we will take advantage of their good intentions and them thinking that we're all on the same page. We'll use that to get what we want. And then what happens? Then you have people who use the United Nations for something else, and it becomes something totally corrupt. What happened? you had a good idea. You had a good idea based on certain values, but and AP, this goes back to what we were just talking about with the G.K. Chesterton, where if you do not have, if you have these virtues and they're not all connected, so that they're all relevant, then something like the tolerance side of the tolerance virtue becomes detached from actual, like, wisdom. If you had those together, then you'd have something like the United Nations, but you would have the wisdom side fully functioning, and you say, wait a minute, we understand, even though we have good intentions here, there are other people who will use this to their advantage and take advantage of this to corrupt the entire system and to ruin it and to completely ruin what could be a good thing. Therefore, we need to be on guard with that. It's the same. Everyone's doing the same thing, right? You have ideas that work into a society like Great Britain, and you have this idea we should try to help other people, and that human beings are worth helping, and so on. But they won't. It'll become detached from the basic common sense and wisdom of, hey, maybe these guys in, let's say, Pakistan, who think they can just walk up to any random Christian and take her. Maybe we don't need to bring in a ton of these guys and give them open access to 12-year-old girls, because they might take advantage of our hospitality and so on. So anyway, he's completely correct, and he's going into the idea that we get these values and we cherish these values until they become completely normal, and we have a problem, because then we're confronted by people who don't have these same values, and we don't know what to do because we think these are just normal. We think they're normal, and they're not. They're not normal for people. We have something special, and you because you make the mistake of thinking everyone has the exact same values, you keep making the same dumb mistakes, and there are people who want to completely destroy that. Why? Because if you're thinking in spiritual terms, we are created in the image of God, and we have something special. And the goal of the dark forces of the world, the satanic and demonic forces, is to degrade the image of God. And so what do you want? The dark forces of the world want to destroy this, because you're degrading the image of God if you destroy the concept of inalienable human rights and so on.
There's something. There's something that I kind of thought about many years ago. It's kind of funny. I remember going for a walk together, and with my wife, and thinking about something very odd. From a very secular perspective, I was thinking about the commandment of not taking the Lord's name in vain, and at that time, kind of trying to make sense of it. And what I thought about at that time, and then further later understood as I kind of started studying this a little bit, was that that even from a secular perspective, even if you do not believe in the historicity of the scripture, in the scripture itself, in the existence of God, in the supernatural, whatever it is, even if you don't believe in those things, just analyzing it from a secular perspective, from a neutral perspective, whatever it is, it's kind of interesting to look at Judaism and to look at the commandment not to take the Lord's name in vain, and to look at how Jews kind of developed this habit and this tradition of not mentioning God's name at all, out of fear that they might misuse it, out of such deep respect. And I kind of started thinking about it like the Ten Commandments, or God, would be in their case, in their society, kind of the foundation of their entire society. It's like the Constitution. It's like what keeps them together. And the commandment not to take the Lord's name in vain, you could consider it a commandment that is specifically there because you want to make sure that nobody belittles or trivializes or disrespects the thing that is at the very core of the foundation of your society. If people start just trivializing it, using it as they wish, disrespecting it, and so on, it can slowly erode and destroy everything. But in Judaism, and then as a result also in Christianity, you establish and have a system where the very core of the foundation that makes your society and that makes all your morals, that makes everything stable, is protected from disrespect with a commandment. It is one of the 10 commandments. You are not supposed to disrespect that thing because it is that important. It is that brutally important. And later, I also understood this because when you look at Judaism in its historical context, in its surroundings, it was pretty much the only religion and tradition in its surroundings and in its time that had a moral system that was so deeply entrenched and was based on not just on what is better for society and what works. For example, in Zoroastrianism, in Zoroastrian culture and other cultures, they had laws established on common understandings and so on. In Judaism, they pretty much had laws based on entrenched. Based on what God wants from you and what God says. So these are not just laws that can be taken seriously or not taken seriously, considered utilitarian or not utilitarian. It is the law, and it is above any human thought. It is above any human judgment. It doesn't depend on you. It comes directly from God. You simply respect it. It is one of the very, very few religions and traditions, or possibly even the only one in its environment and time, that actually has such firmly and deeply entrenched fundamental laws that still apply to this day, that also are the foundation of Christian morality, and that have brought us to where we are today in the year 2025 in a Christian society. This is very, very significant, extremely significant, and it would be very stupid to downplay the importance of this and to disregard this and to say, "Oh, religion is garbage."
Pretty dangerous. And that what you just said totally connects with what the other Randy said. Cutting down fences without knowing why they're there. That's another lesson from A.P. Chesterton. Yet there's a famous passage from G.K. Chesterton when now there's an account called A.P. Chesterton. That's funny. People are quick. But there's a famous passage from G.K. Chesterton where he says, hey, if you're going along and you see a fence and you don't see the purpose, think, okay, I don't see the purpose of this fence. Let me just tear this fence down. And he says, until you can state what that fence is there for, do not tear that fence down, because you don't know what if you don't know what it's there for, you don't know what it's dividing or keeping out or something like that. And so this idea, we don't see the point of this. Let's just go tear it down. He says, if someone built that at some point, it was for a reason. And if you don't know the reason, you don't know what it's there for. Do not touch that. He says, only when you can explain exactly why that fence is there and you can show why it's no longer important and no longer relevant, then you can tear it down. But when you have no idea and you don't know what you're talking about, do not touch that fence. He's talking about things like, I think the example he discusses right after that is like marriage. You get to and it's actually a perfect example. Like you get to the modern period, and it's like, we don't need marriage anymore. We understand, centuries ago, you had to have a man and woman and a family and stuff like that for, protection and so on. Now we have a society that can protect a woman and so on. We don't need any of this stuff anymore. We don't need any of this stuff. It's like, you do not know the role that the family is playing in a society, and you don't understand the impact of getting rid of the family unit. You do not understand that. Therefore, you shouldn't have been messing with it. You shouldn't have been tearing down that fence, because you do not know what this fence is actually doing, and you end up destroying society in the process with your stupid ideas. So, yes, that is indeed correct. Powerful and based, let's say. All right, back to Tom Holland.
I mean, these are theological precepts, theological ideas that.
That's awesome. Let me back up a little. So he's saying, I wanted to back up because I want this connected to what he said right before it, that talking about human rights is every bit of the leap of faith of saying Jesus rose on the third day. So they're both theological. They're both theological claims. Let me back up. But we don't believe in theology. Then where are you getting the rights from, guys?
Rights. They tend to kind of assume that they are imminent. But in the long run, when you look at it in the kind of historical perspective, to believe in human rights requires just as much a leap of faith as believing that the Lord Jesus Christ rose on the third day and ascended into heaven. I mean, these are theological precepts, theological ideas that have been bred specifically of Christian history. And the genius of the West has been to kind of package them and market them as though somehow they've been, removed from the Christian context that gave them birth. Yeah. And I think that one of the things that we're seeing...
Did you catch that? That was smart. The guy, did you catch what he just said? This is what I like. He'll just say something and it's really, really profound and deep, and you could just kind of miss it. He's saying, so what did he say? The brilliance or whatever, the genius of the West has been that they took these values and ideas that came from Christianity, they came from the Bible, but it packaged them in such a way as if we're just, we all have these rights, and they spread it around as if it's not derived from Christianity, which made it easier to spread around to people who weren't Christians, even people who aren't Christians. So you're not saying, hey guys, accept Christianity. You're saying, hey, accept these values, and we all need to have these values and so on, and spread them around the world. And you actually see that. It's impacted the entire world. It's impacted the entire world, even for people who didn't accept Christianity, because he's saying this is the genius. They sort of distilled these things from Christianity and then spread them around the world as if they're not from Christianity, so that they'd be, and then they're more acceptable around the world. And so anyway, it's just really interesting how what he just said. I mean, think about that Abraham is told that he will be that his offspring will be a blessing to the entire world, and as it goes on, that Israel will be a light to the Gentiles and so on. And then this is Tom Holland talking about how basic human rights and so on were spread around the world. Interesting fulfillment. Back to the
package them and market them as though somehow they've been, removed from the Christian context that gave them birth. Yeah. And I think that one of the things that we're seeing, seen over the past few decades, really since the 21st century, is that as Western power and influence retreats, so more and more of the world is kind of basically saying, well, these ideas, these ideals are, these are culturally contingent. These are your ideas. They're not our ideas.
Did you catch that? Mm-hmm. Everyone getting that. This ties in. He's bringing together stuff we talk about all the time, right? He's saying as Western power sort of retreats, as the West becomes less of an influence on the world because all dumb stuff going on. As the West becomes less influential in the world, we start getting these other ideas and challenges saying, no, that's just culturally contingent stuff. So again, think about something like child marriage. People don't understand, like the idea that you should be protecting the rights of little girls and so on, and that you should be concerned about them. Where are you getting the idea that you should care about what some 9-year-old girl in Iraq right now? Where are you getting that idea? It's ultimately derived from Old Testament and New Testament. That idea, right? Earlier civilizations couldn't have envisioned a situation where they would care what's going on with someone else on the other side of the world. We think that little girl needs to be protected from people who want to harm her, even if she's in a completely different culture, even in a completely different society. What you had was, at its sort of peak of influence, the United States and other Western nations sort of compelled other nations to end slavery, to protect the rights of little girls and so on. So what happened? They make laws against slavery. They raise the age of marriage and so on. And then as the West becomes less influential or weaker, or other people start smelling weakness in the air. And I don't think these guys are actually going to stop us from doing this stuff anymore. What happens? You just saw it in Iraq. 18 was the age. Boom, 9. As long as your religion says it's okay to marry a 9-year-old. So it's actually going. What he just said is actually happening. It's actually happening in the world as people no longer feel compelled by the West to have these values and to defend these people's sort of innate rights. Now you're devolving to other ways of thinking. And guess what? That's going to continue. That's going to continue. Sad stuff.
And I think that this is unsettling for people in the West, precisely because we have the kind, the shadow of the Nazis hangs over us. Because the Nazis absolutely did think against Paul that Jews and Greeks were completely separate, and we know where that led. And part of the horror of the Holocaust, the kind of the horror and the most grotesque irony in the history of Christendom, is that Hitler saw St. Paul, who said there is no Jew or Greek, as the embodiment of a kind of pernicious a Jewish cosmopolitanism that he saw as having destroyed Greece and Rome. He thought this idea that there is no Jew or Greek, that there is no slave or free, that there is no man or woman, had corrupted classical civilization and destroyed it.
So you,
I want to read something quickly.
That's along the lines of your boy Nietzsche, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Nazis really used Nietzsche, which is very ironic because Nietzsche himself, he many times expressed how disgusted he is by anti-Semites.
His sister had his writings and stuff and tweaked them, didn't she?
Yeah. She twisted them. She had his
sister was an anti-Semite, and she took some of his writings and made them more anti-Semitic in tone.
He even wrote about his sister, about how she together with her boyfriend, fiance, husband, something, are a couple of horrible anti-Semites. This is what he wrote about his own sister, and that sister later on comes after his
inherits
death
his stuff
and takes his things and twists them to adjust them and to adjust them to an anti-Semitic pro-Nazi stuff. It's so bizarre. But they did take Nietzsche's idea of the ultimate good being, might and power, and twisted it in such a way that they misinterpreted that and turned it into ultimate power. Whatever makes me stronger is the best thing, and those who are the strongest are the best, and so on, which was not really Nietzsche's point. But I want to briefly address something here, which is very, very related to what he just said, what he said about Hitler. So Hitler had some really, really strong thoughts about the Roman Empire and about Christianity's role. Let's see. This is from the diaries of Goebbels, which are authenticated. In fact, they were authenticated by a pro-Nazi Jew hater himself. The Führer is a man totally attuned to antiquity. He hates Christianity. How much clearer can it get? He hates Christianity. This is Goebbels, Hitler's most trusted guy, who, with his knowledge, was writing these things down. The Führer is a man totally attuned to antiquity. He hates Christianity because it has crippled all that is noble in humanity. According to Schopenhauer, Christianity and syphilis have made humanity unhappy and unfree. What a difference between the benevolent, smiling Zeus and the pain-racked, crucified Christ. The ancient people's view of God was also much nobler and more humane than the Christians'. What a difference between a gloomy cathedral and a light, airy, ancient temple. He describes life in ancient Rome, clarity, greatness, monumentality, the most wonderful republic in history. We would feel no disappointment, he believes, if we were now suddenly to be transported to this old eternal city. The Führer cannot relate to the Gothic mind. He hates gloom and brooding mysticism. He wants clarity, light, beauty. And these are the ideals of life in our time. In this respect, the Führer is a totally modern man. To him, the Augustinian period is the high point of history. And so far as the slaves are concerned, the people who were supposedly freed by Christ, or by Christianity, they were far less free and far more oppressed than in ancient Rome. What do we mean by slavery? Is a member of today's industrial proletariat perhaps freer than a slave before the Americans brought freedom to their southern states? It's all a question of preconceptions. It then continues along those lines and gets more critical, and we can get into some of those things later. But so Hitler and Goebbels together both thought that Christianity had come and basically turned humans into pathetic beings, whereas the glory actually lies in pre-Christian or post-Christian way of living and all that, and that they have destroyed what humans need the most, which is holding on to might and to what it is and to the natural urges. There's even a section where they both start trash talking Christianity for its sexual morality, and say that German soldiers should be able to go and have sex as they wish in villages and so on. It is very
Very based. The word you're looking at.
you can have some really deep insights into what these guys actually thought about Christianity and society.
Here we have AP, you legend, you absolutely smashed comedy Dawa. I couldn't stop laughing. You made him real mad.
Yeah, thank you.
Why do you find that funny?
It was hilarious.
Did you
Was
crush that dude?
Yes.
Is that the word on the street?
Yes.
Is anyone cheering him on or anything? As far as we know, we know you say it was the comment section was briefly flooded with yes, Central Dawa destroyed AP, but that didn't seem to last very long because all the main comments now are how humiliated this guy is.
By the way, also in Mein Kampf, he briefly he mentions at some point how
You said mention.
how Christianity gave people this useless idea of being equals, which also what Tom Holland here addresses, and says that instead of fighting each other over who is right and who is wrong, the Protestants and the Catholics should stop wasting people's time, should stop trying to spread Christianity to others, and should instead teach the German population not to interbreed with others and to make them a superior people. You can already see in his book Mein Kampf his whole idea about how Christians are stupid, Christianity is stupid, but we should use it in a different way.
You've got this dope Daryl. He keeps posting, screw religion, Reformation, Renaissance, Enlightenment. And he says, Jesus didn't condemn slavery. Secularism is better. He doesn't understand like the basic gist of what Tom Holland is saying. You ultimately, what did Jesus say? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love even your enemies, and look at the Gospels. How much does Jesus emphasize helping and caring for other people and loving other people over and over again? These are the ideas that eventually lead to, hey, if you believe in these teachings, if you believe do unto others as you would have them do unto you and so on, should you be treating other people like that? And then these values are so successfully spread that that people think they're normal, and you're saying secularism is better. What is secular? It's taking some of the ideas drawn from Christianity and removing the foundation, and then just acting like they can function on their own. And the world we're living in right now is a world where you've gotten rid of the foundation, and you think these values are going to continue, and you think they're going to dominate. And what happens? What actually happens? The entire thing starts falling apart, and other things start eating you alive because you have no foundation. And so, Daryl, yeah, the people who think like you are actually The people are saying, yes, secularism is the way to go. You're the guys destroying secularism. You're destroying it. You're paving the way for other things to conquer you because you have no foundation. And if you have a bunch of guys screaming, God commands us to humiliate these people and destroy them so we can get our virgins in paradise. And then you're going, hey, we just like secularism. We have no basis for anything. And did you not hear a word Tom Holland just said?
Secularism.
Did you not hear a word the man said? Saying that people just have these rights is every bit as something miraculous as Jesus rising from the dead. You giant dope. Stop embarrassing yourself with this nonsense. My goodness, dude, you sound like you're posting your message from 2007 when the new atheism
finished already.
When the new atheism still thought if we just get rid of Christianity, then the world will become better. And you look around and you go full secular, and then you can't figure out what a boy and a girl are, and you pave the way for Islam to come in and conquer you. That's what actually happens. You giant dope.
Don't you know you never go full secular?
Never go full secular. You can't. Going full secular would destroy secularism. It's one of the things that if you take it as its own thing and you celebrate it as its own idol with no foundation, you destroy the foundation, and then it collapses and it falls to pieces. That's what happens, Daryl. So go somewhere else with your silliness and stupidity.
You went full secular, man. You never go full secular.
Never go full Daryl. Never go full Daryl.
Thinking behind that is Hitler thought that the Jews were subhuman; they were not human, and somehow they climbed under the idea.
He saw them as the most dangerous enemy of the strong. That Paul is.
Did he say the Strom?
The strong.
Like electricity or something? Did he say
Strom.
German? That's not an English word. Strom. Did he say Strom? If he's saying he said enemies of the strong. I think he said enemies of the strong. Would that be like electricity or power or something like that? If he's saying German, hang on.
You know what's funny, by the way? We talk about Hitler and him viewing others as subhuman. If you want to get very technical, Hitler actually viewed humans as less than animals in general, and had generally this whole view that other animals are probably superior to humans, or maybe superior to humans. The guy was kind of messed up in the head. I think a bit.
You're saying he wasn't. You're saying he was messed up. Let me back up here. I thought he said Strom. Let's see.
Man or woman had corrupted classical civilization and destroyed it.
So your thinking behind that is Hitler thought that the Jews were subhuman; they were not human, and somehow they climbed under the idea.
He saw them as the most dangerous enemy of the strong. That Paul is preaching Christ crucified. He's preaching this dead man on a cross. He's preaching this universalism, this cosmopolitanism, and this destroys the Roman Empire. And so Hitler thinks that if his Reich is going to last 1,000 years and not be brought down by a creeping Jewish cosmopolitanism, then he has to get rid of the Jews. But there's a case for saying that he targets the Jews for genocide because he blames them for Christianity, which, considering the fact that he draws on obviously all kinds of kind of very venerable Christian, anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish propaganda, I mean, it's just the most hideous irony and paradox.
Did you catch that? He says there's a sense in which Hitler hates the Jews because he blames them for foisting Christianity on the world and doing all this stuff. So
perfect quote, actually. Let me read this quickly. Perfect quote on that. The Führer is deeply religious, though completely anti-Christian. He views Christianity as a symbol of decay. Rightly so. It is a branch of the Jewish race. This is what Goebbels said.
Christianity is a branch of the Jewish race. And so we got to destroy the ones who gave the world Christianity, or that which Christianity grew out of. And then, since you still have tons of Christians, you just have to modify Christianity over time to turn it into what you want.
In fact, let me continue with this quote. So, it is a branch of the Jewish race, which is why the Führer is against it. This can be seen in the similarity of religious rites. Both Judaism and Christianity have no point of contact to the animal element, and thus, in the end, they will be destroyed. The Führer is a convinced vegetarian on principle. His arguments cannot be refuted on any serious basis. They are totally unanswerable. He has little regard for Homo sapiens, what I just said. Man should not feel so superior to animals. He has no reason to. Man believes that he alone has intelligence, a soul, and the power of speech. Has not the animal these things? Just because we, with our dull senses, cannot recognize them, it does not prove that they are not there. So, he thinks that Christianity is just an extension or a part of the Jewish race, which, of course, to both of them is ultimate corruption and the ultimate enemy. So, therefore, if Christianity is part of the Jewish race, then Christianity is also the enemy, because it corrupts the human and the animal element in the human, which Hitler was an ultimate fan of. And gropers will never ever realize this because they're stupid.
Because they are extremely stupid. The other point he made right there was that Hitler was also thinking long term. So he wasn't just thinking, "Hey, we need to get rid of these guys for me." It's he wants this to last for 1,000 years. And if you want something like this to last for 1,000 years, you have to get rid of things that will eventually corrode and undermine it. And so you got to get rid of the Jews because they will somehow undermine it, and you got to seriously modify Christianity, because Christianity will be, how would Central Dalba put it, a kind of thorn in the side of this whole system, and therefore you have to stop these things now. You have to deal with Judaism now, and then you have to after you fully gain control, then you can turn Christianity into what you need it to be, so that the German system would last. So he was thinking long term. So got to change these things.
Indeed.
Interesting.
And you also have in Goebbels' diaries the admission, actually, that he talks to Hitler about the churches, and that they both agree that right now, as things are going during the war times, we can't really deal with the churches, but we have to just stall them and wait until the war is over. And once the war is over, we can tackle and finish the churches and turn them into something else. And he explicitly refers to it as what you can do instead of leaving the churches as they are with their two denominations, which both of them Hitler is against. Mostly he's against the Catholics, but then also against the Protestants, whom he just used as useful tools. And their goal was to create positive Christianity. Positive Christianity, where the cross is replaced with the Hakenkreuz, with the swastika, because the cross is seen as a symbol of weakness, whereas the Nazi symbol is seen as a symbol of power. So they want to remove the cross from churches and put the Nazi cross there instead, to symbolize power over humility and meekness, and create their new non-Jewish Christian religion. Really messed up.
So there's a reason. There's a reason, ladies and gentlemen, that we're talking about the Germans right now. You think, come on, no, doesn't everyone know about the Germans? No, you have a generation of young, stupid people being educated on TikTok. And maybe he's just misunderstood and misrepresented by the Jews. The Jews, after World War II, convinced people that he was actually a bad guy and not this misunderstood man who's just trying to help his people. He's just trying to help his people and rescue his people from the Jews. He's actually a good guy. Got all these idiots. So all this stuff that you just, if you're in the United States, Europe, anywhere, if you're my age, it was still understood, really, really bad guy. But now you get to a period where they're trying to bring him back. Still feels like we're playing whack-a-mole here. Like every single thing you try and expose and say, guys, this is false. This is stupid and insane. Stop it. And then boom, another thing. Actually, we should come up with like a modified whack-a-mole where instead of like, I don't know if you've ever actually played whack-a-mole, AP,
No.
but there are all these things and a mole pops out and you bop it and then another one will pop up. Occasionally two will pop up, so you got to be quick. But I mean, just there needs to be like some expanded whack-a-mole where it's this huge field and there's just like hundreds of them constantly popping up and you're trying to sit here and deal with them all and it's like what the heck is going on here? So we got the Dawa guys trying to take over the world. We got the gropers, the white nationalists. We got Candace Owens. Everyone's celebrating the little mustache guy now. Weird times, ladies and gentlemen. Weird times. AP, you have any final thoughts on the Germans and why they hated Christianity? Otherwise, we'll go on to the super chats.
I have lots of big thoughts.
Do you?
So,
Bigly.
bigly.
He thinks bigly on this.
So first off, there is that one phrase which is reported by multiple accounts. Earlier, somebody was suggesting here and saying the table talk is fake. So the table talk is a compilation of writings of records written down by one of Hitler's very trusted men, Martin Bormann, and his assistants. They together wrote down things that Hitler spoke about in the bunker and in his residence. There, they wrote about how he was informed about the Battle of Tours, which was the Muslim invasion of France, which failed, which could have turned Europe into a Muslim society. And he then talks about how he wishes it had happened because he thinks Christianity is just is terrible for Germans. And the quote then goes to why did it have to be Christianity with its meekness and flabbiness? I wish the German people. Wait a minute, I had it up here somewhere. So he wished that the German people had the Japanese religion, Shintoism, or Islam, the Mohammedan religion, because these religions glorify war and martyrdom. Why did it have to be Christianity with its meekness and flabbiness? That was his whole concern. Christianity was making them meek and flabby. Weaklings. You're weaklings. If you were Muslims, you would kill. You would be superior. You would humiliate others.
That's our goal.
That's one of his thoughts. The other issues are once again, reports by Goebbels in his writings, where he says that that their plan is to create a future new religion based on Christianity, but a distorted form of it. But they had so many different aspects for which they really did not like Christianity. For example, so here is one thing where Goebbels talks about what they want to do with Christianity. Travel back to Berlin with the Führer immediately after his speech. Sit in our compartment and talk. We discussed all conceivable sorts of problems, particularly the lack of foresight and initiative in the armaments ministry. The Führer is also very angry about it, but at the moment he can do little to change it. He intends to wait until the war is over before dealing with the church clique. And
Smart.
quite rightly so. He sees the general situation in a very optimistic light. England must be forced to her knees. Bad news, Goebbels. Fast forward, you're going to lose.
Yeah, 1 second, real quick, because
Yeah.
it's very similar to. I think this was a little before you came on yesterday, but I was live with Armin Navabi, who's Iranian, and he was breaking down he was breaking down Iran for us because people basically raised familiar with an evil Iran, an evil terrorist state, and they're not familiar with before that, which was pretty recently. It's in my lifetime. I was like a toddler when it happened, but he was pointing out how the radical Shia Muslims teamed up with the leftists to take over Iran, destroy the monarchy, and impose Islam. And he said, and what the hardliners, what the Shia Muslim hardliners did, as soon as they rose to power, they executed all the leftists, right? So, hey, let's work together. Let's work together. Because what did the leftists and the Shia Muslims agree on? We want to get rid of the current leaders. They agreed. So let's work together and getting rid of the current leaders. Yay, let's get rid of them. So they got rid of them. And then the Muslims slaughtered the leftists after that. And so it was, hey, we want to work together. But it's a similar dynamic with the Nazis. Christians, yes, 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 we're on your side. Yes, yes, yes. We need to make Christianity strong and based. Let's win this war. Let's win this big war. And then everything will be great. And instead, the plan was win the war and then either completely crush Christianity or just, even better, transform it into something fundamentally un-Christian, but is completely aligned with your political agenda.
Yeah, once
Smart,
they're done,
smart,
they'd say, "Yeah, Muslim, it's time to kill the others."
Yeah. And think about how this is all connected to what's going on. Who are the best buddies of the Dawah guys and the jihadis? Islam continues to align with far left elements, LGBTQ, and the right. We're on the same page, and yeah, they're all, yeah, we're on the same page. Wink, wink. Yeah, we're really going to be on the same page if we get to power. Bunch of dopes, man.
So here are some more views on by Goebbels and the Führer. At one point, Goebbels reports in his writings that there are plans to introduce some Christian magazines for soldiers. To give them some motivation and some things to read and give them hope. Goebbels says, I reject this idea of a church magazine for soldiers, which the Wehrmacht High Command is pressing for. The soldiers have better things to do at the moment than reading religious tracts. I explain this to Martin Bormann, and in the process give him a little lecture about the mindless lack of logic in Christian teachings, which impresses him deeply. This is how these guys actually thought. Martin wants permission for a big new Christian magazine aimed at the Wehrmacht. I turned the idea down. These milksop teachings are the very worst thing we can give our soldiers. It's very funny because this is very, very much in contradiction to what the gropers will tell us. This is Christianity and Nazis strong. That's not what the Nazis thought.
Yep.
The sexual problem worries the Führer greatly, particularly where it affects the cities. What can a young person do in this respect? The problem solves itself in the countryside. Christianity has infused all our erotic attitudes with dishonesty. The so-called morality of today is mostly nothing but hypocrisy. The erotic urge, next to hunger, is the most vital element in human existence, a fundamental urge that cannot be dismissed with a few banal maxims. We must view this question completely from the standpoint of popular health. That must be our morality. That must be our morality. The Führer praises the Spartans in this respect because they were hard, but also honorable and healthy, and nothing is right for everyone. What is acceptable in the city is not always acceptable in the countryside. One must act according to the intellectual range of the people involved. What he's talking about here, and this is, I find this very funny because lots of these pretend Christians who are LARPing online, the gropers and so on, will talk about and morality and sexual immorality and so on, and the Nazis were based, they were getting rid of sexual immorality and so on. Here's Goebbels basically saying that the whole Christian morality and Christian idea of being, sexually careful and sexually pure and all of that is a bunch of ridiculous, counterproductive nonsense, and that the Nazi soldiers should instead, or that men should instead be able to just go and, have sex wherever and whenever they want, because that's their urge, and their urges are better than these ridiculous Christian teachings. This is what the Nazis actually thought. This is anything but Christian. Here is another part where they hide their intentions in order to appeal to Christians. Goebbels writes this: afterwards, long discussions about the Vatican and Christianity. The Führer is a fierce opponent of all that humbug, but he forbids me to leave the church for tactical reasons. And so for a decade now, I have paid my church taxes to support such rubbish. That is what hurts most. So Goebbels is strictly against Christianity and strictly just wants to leave any membership in the church. But Hitler says to him, nope, don't do that. You have to be part of it for now because it is tactical. And Goebbels really doesn't like it, but he just has to agree with it for now. And he's so hurt by this. And so on. There is just so much more, man. The thing is, the scholarly consensus on the Nazis and Hitler and their views on Christianity and their treatments of religion, scholars very, very much agree. It is beyond dispute at this point that these guys were not Christians. They were not pro-Christian. They, in fact, disliked Christianity. Some top Nazi guys were occultists and neo-pagans who wanted to revive some German spirit. They were against even missionary activities by Christians. They wanted to utilize religion in order to turn it into a master race puppet tool of Hitler's wonderful ideas of subjugating humanity, killing the disabled, killing the weak, killing the people of different colors, killing those who are mixed race, and so on, and establishing themselves as superior humans. These guys were absolute lunatics. They never liked Christianity. They didn't want Christianity. They were opposed to it. They hated it. They saw it as a Jewish product, which they also hated. And there are some people who will say things like, I saw earlier somebody saying that the Pope supported the Nazis, or the Catholic Church was with them on this. This is not true. The Catholic Church was kind of indifferent to some of the things that were happening, which is where you can blame them a little bit. But the Catholic Church was actually very active in trying to helping Jewish refugees, helping clerics inside Germany, and they were very careful not to publicly antagonize the Nazis because they were aware that the Nazis would ruthlessly take revenge on Catholic clerics inside Germany. So they were, but behind the scenes, they were actively helping the opponents of the Nazis and also helping the Jews who would escape, for example, and so on. There is no friendship, no connection between Nazis and Christianity.
And so, can we conclude that the various groups today who are claiming to be Christian, but who are also supporting Nazi ideas, Hitler was a good guy, that these groups like the Gropers, like the white nationalists and so on, occasionally Candace Owens, that they're either simply complete idiots, like complete morons. They're too stupid to know what they're talking about. Or they're basically weak and pathetic versions of what the Nazis were. They're people who are, here's what I really want, and let me use Christianity to dupe a bunch of Christians into coming along for the ride. Something along those lines?
Yeah, I don't know how to address this, but the one thing that I noticed nowadays is that, especially in the public, well-known influencer scene, there is a very odd fashion where you have some people who are mixed race or who are black, and others suddenly standing up and being the voice of the Nazis and being the voice of the Nazi pro-Christian hybrid weirdos, like I don't know, Candace Owens, Moron Gaines, Kanye, and so on.
Hitler invented a microphone. Shut up, man. Make some beats, make some songs. You're not a historian here, buddy.
You know what Hitler said about mixed people. This is directly from Mein Kampf. For the contamination caused by the influx of Black blood on the Rhine, in the very heart of Europe, is in accord with the sadist and perverse lust for vengeance on the part of the hereditary enemy of our people, just as it suits the purpose of the cool, calculating Jew, who would use this means of introducing a process of bastardization in the very center of the European continent, and by infecting the white race with the blood of an inferior stock, would destroy the foundations of its independent existence. So according to him, mixed people, people resulting from black and white mixing were bastards that were a result of inferior stock deliberately by the Jews pushed forward to weaken the white race. So when a black or mixed person today comes and actually says, "Oh, the Nazis weren't actually bad guys," I really don't know what to say anymore.
It's funny because anyone who knows about genetics, like, matter of fact, anyone who's ever had a bunch of dogs throughout their lives should know how stupid this is, right? And that once you have like some very purebred thing, you have some super purebred dog, you got to take that thing to the vet like 3 times a month and stuff to like keep it from all the problems that arise. Meanwhile, you've got a mutt that no one takes care of, that lives on the street. It gets hit by a car 3 times a week, and that thing will never die. It's indestructible, right? It actually helps to have diverse genes in your gene pool. It actually helps. So anyway, guys.
It is very, 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 very weird. There are some people in the chat who say Hitler was a Nazi. What are you talking? Hitler was a Nazi. Hitler was a Christian. What are you talking?
Did you know Hitler was a Nazi?
They're gropers here saying Hitler was a Christian.
Gropers. Hitler was a Christian in the sense that you guys are Christian. He's using Christianity. He's using Christianity to get what he really wants, hoping that no one exposes what he really wants.
Well, I have to draw a distinction. These guys are mostly imbeciles. Hitler was actually kind of smart about it.
Yeah, he's smart.
But that's basically what it was. But am I supposed to believe these gropers, or am I supposed to believe Hitler himself and his most trusted guys? And
yeah,
there's
also pause there.
Go ahead.
To be clear, so I mean, you're quoting the people who knew him and quoting him. Why Christianity? Why Christianity with its meekness? Why couldn't we have Islam? Why? It would have been so much better and helped us. And then you have all these people. Okay, he says we have to. He says, I really can't stand church. I can't stand it. I can't stand this Christianity. But Hitler says I have to go until we win the war, and then we can do it. So who are we supposed to listen to when we are trying to decide what Hitler believes and what he thinks about Christianity? Are we supposed to believe Hitler and the people closest to him, or a bunch of idiot morons on TikTok going, "Oh, Hitler's so cool and based. I think he's an awesome Christian. He's pretty much the greatest Christian who ever lived. Why would you guys attack such a great Christian?" Who are we supposed to believe here?
Hitler liked Islam more than Christianity, you idiots, you imbeciles. You should consider him a traitor by your standards. But what's also funny, fun fact, by the way, in his book Mein Kampf, he never, ever refers to himself as a Christian. He never says, "I'm a Christian." Despite talking about religion quite a bit, he never confesses to be a Christian. What he does say at some point is that that he has a mission given by the Almighty God to save the white race, to save the Aryan race, and all that. But he also speaks in different parts of it in the book about how the goddess of fate and the god of this and the gods of this and this have granted us the ability to do this and this and this. He was just completely rhetorical and dumb, but even there, he never referred to himself as a Christian in his book. He did so later on only in public speeches when he was appealing to the people to gain their sympathy, while he hated it.
And that pretty much sums it up, everyone. So, Learn some basics here, ladies and gentlemen. Learn a couple of quotations. The quotation from Hitler where he's talking about how much he can't stand Christian. Why did it have to be Christianity ruining what we want? Why? That one good to share with all the dumb gropers. Good stuff. AP and Dr. David, you are both my favorite. I've been watching y'all for 4 to 5 years now. Great works. Can I clip y'all both videos and post on your channel? Yes. Yes from me. Yes from me. AP, do you agree that this person can clip our videos?
Yes.
Yes. Your permission has been granted. You can clip our videos. When is Apostate Music releasing some beats? AP, what do we got coming out from Apostate Music?
Probably soon, but I don't understand how he has been watching our videos for 45 years. We haven't even been doing it.
45 years. Well, I'm almost 49, so
Interesting.
I started making videos when I was 4. They were super dope and based. All right, so soon with the Apostate Music, AP says. Daid, thank you for giving that demure description of Nabil. You made my night. Yes, this is from Gay P. Gwyneth here says, animal rights can't come from nature. That's stupid. That is correct. That is correct. You would only get the idea and that they're like some sort of creatures made by God, and therefore you shouldn't mistreat them. If Islam is worth destroying, it is worth destroying today. It's very rude. Islam needs to be coddled. Sidekick Rus, D. Wood, and Apostate Paul, all the best. Danke. So how do we fight Islam in the UK, for instance, without compromising our Christian values?
Deport.
Yeah, Tezbot. Jesus. Who were the hypocritical religious leaders of Jesus' time? There were people. He called out and exposed their hypocrisy. Right? Islam is the most religiously hypocritical system that has ever existed. Jesus believed. Matter of fact, that's throughout the Bible. Old Testament or New Testament. You have commands. You have commands about loving people and so on. You also have just brutal mockery, insults, and so on various times in the Bible. If you look at the pattern, the people who are on the receiving end of just brutal mockery, insults, and so on, they were false prophets. You can look at Elijah's confrontation with the false prophets and see how he was there. I mean, he was just completely mocking their gods and so on. You have this throughout the Old Testament. You have Isaiah, for instance, just completely mocking the idea of making an idol. He chops down a tree. Then he uses part of the tree to bake some bread for himself. But he takes another part and he fashions it into a god and bows down and worships it. And so it's just mocking the entire process of making an idol. You get to the New Testament. Jesus, who was emphasizing loving other people. What does he say when he's talking to the hypocrites? Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites. He's brutal. I mean, you snakes, you brood of vipers and so on. You strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. He's completely mocking and insulting them. You find the same thing with the Apostle Paul, Elymas the sorcerer and so on. What you find, the pattern you find is the people who are on the receiving end of just brutal mockery are the people who are in positions where they're leading other people astray. False prophets, oppressors, hypocritical religious leaders. Why is this relevant? Because there is no system in human history that completely embodies all of these aspects than Islam. Muhammad, false prophet, check. Oppressor, check. Hypocritical religious leader, check. Muhammad meets all the standard requirements of someone who would, according to Jesus, Paul, God in the Old Testament, the prophets, the apostles, be on the receiving end of complete mockery and insult. I believe that in the long run, learn about Islam and expose it. That is completely in line with the Bible as Christian. You are not violating anything. And if you are hurting people's feelings while you're exposing the false prophets, guess what? Jesus was hurting people's feelings when he was exposing their favorite religious leaders, because their favorite religious leaders were hypocrites. So you are completely in line with the Bible, hurting people's feelings while exposing a false prophet, an oppressor, and so on. With that said, there are other roles that the government has to have. Keep in mind, according to the Bible, governments have a kind of authority from God, and their task is it says they don't bear the sword for nothing. They're there to punish wrongdoers. So if there are people among you who are supposed to be who are there according to them and what their religion calls on them to do, if they're there to subjugate you and undermine and oppress and overthrow people and subjugate people and so on, you can, as a Christian, be calling on the government, say your job is to protect us in this situation. So you as a ordinary citizen and a Christian can be blasting away at Islam. You call on your government to be protecting people and so on. And if they're not doing it, guess what? You have a democracy. You can vote people in power who will protect you. So I think that all of that is completely in line with Christian values. What you find is you have a kind of distortion of Christian values among lots of people in the West, where all Christianity is a system for never hurting anyone's feelings ever. Well, guess what? That's not biblical Christianity. People's feelings were hurt all the time by Jesus, by Paul, and so on. So it's morphed into something it's not. And so if you're sticking with actual Christianity, you're good. What did you say that you amused yourself with a second ago, AP?
Me, I didn't say anything.
You said so, you blurted something out, and then you started chuckling, snickering.
I was actually chuckling at something else because somebody posted a meme about saying God, whoever kills Hitler goes to heaven, and then Hitler, and then it's just an image of him killing himself.
This is y'all are learning what amuses AP, ladies and gentlemen. Gwyneth Isaac says the opposite of not taking God's name in vain is Jehovah's Witnesses. Ooh, brother, ooh, it's not as bad as Islam, but bad nevertheless. So yes, so not taking the Lord's name in vain, and they actually put it in the name of their group so that everyone always has to mention Jehovah in.
But you know what's actually. I think what's actually worse than that is when gropers nowadays, or people like Candace Owens, use the phrase "Christ is King" for their political purposes.
Indeed, and don't mispronounce her name, AP. It's Candace, not Candace.
Oh, Candace. Sorry.
Candace. We've got that. Let's see. Roses are red. Adolf didn't get. Momo is dead. Christ's resurrect. Momo had armies with swords to compel. Christ conquered the world. His love broke the spell.
Powerful.
We've got powerful poetry. Powerful and true poetry. Hitler was loon bad. Hitler was loon bad too many of Germans believe in.
Powerful.
Isn't it weird? Germans are I think Germans are pretty darn smart, and I think I've said before, I think things are connected to language in terms of people's like aggression. I've said this, I just want to repeat it here because it ties into the point I've said before. For some reason, like I can listen to your language and tell how you would fight. And so just, again, if you told me there's a fight that's about to break out between the Germans and the French, and I hear the Germans and they're right? They talk like that, and the Finns, I can tell you who's going to crush the other. You can hear that. And like you even get to the Russians, and what do they sound like? They're like ring, sling, sling, shlong, slavok, sling, ring, vodka, and like there you sound like tough, but like laid back and like you're not in a rut. And that's exactly how they fight. We'll let them come at us until winter hits, and we drink vodka, and their armies get buried in snow, and that's how they fight. I don't know. Everyone does that. But
it's funny you say that because Russians are known for, and I don't want to sound racist here now, but Russians are known for having, like, despite being tough, having a great lack of discipline. Yeah.
That's what they sound like. That's what they sound like. But yeah, I don't even remember what started that. So I was going to tie it into another point, and then I got distracted by thinking about all these people and their dumb languages and how that makes them fight.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I'd have to go back to see what I was talking about. I've forgotten.
But
Does anyone?
the French, excusez-moi, we as France, we would like to surrender right now. Please leave us alone. That's how they say.
All right, I don't remember what I was talking about at all. But somehow it connected to what I was just saying. Believe it.
Carl Burrow said, but you're a Turk, AP, so you're automatically a racist. This is a good point. Fair point. Maybe, was it related to Stefan Thomas's super chat here, which says, I love David Wood and AP, but what about Reichskonkordat still in function till today? Church taxes in Germany. I'm on your site, but that's interesting.
Oh, hang on. Here we go. Yes, I love D. Wood, AP, but what about Reichskonkordat still in function today? Church taxes in Germany. I'm on your side, but that's interesting. Great.
They still do that, yeah. You have it on your thing. Watch. I don't know if that's still going on, to be honest.
Well,
but as far as I remember, in Germany, any Germans here, you usually have your confession.
Of course, they're here.
They're
heroes in the title of this video. What's that?
They have their confession on their ID, so their denomination, what church they belong to, usually on their documents, which is all used for different purposes.
Oh, hey, I remember what I was saying. I remember what I was saying that led into that. So here's what I think. So you've got the Germans who are smart. I mean, there's some reason they're producing all the scientists at that time. It's probably connected to a bunch of things, but they're the ones producing all the scientists at that time. So they think they're the smartest people in the world, and they're pretty smart. If you're producing all the physicists and so on, then you've got some intelligence there. But also like aggressive, and then especially after World War I, think, hey, we're being horribly mistreated here. We're being horribly mistreated. We're like the greatest people in the world. You'd think, oh, because you're so smart, you shouldn't fall for someone like Hitler coming along. But what does Hitler come along? Well, we're the greatest people in the world. We should be running everything else. Guess what? And we should be aggressive and conquering everything. Of course. Look, there's our guy. There's our guy. What's the only thing what would be the only thing holding you back from going with this guy? Well, we believe in Jesus, and he says how we're supposed to be. No, that's weakening you. That's weakening you. We're the Germans. We're the Germans. So, oh yeah, that's how we should be. That's how we should be. We should be dominant. We are strong. We should be on top.
The thing is that while that's an interesting theory, it's kind of like the rise of the Nazis and the rise of Hitler was kind of many people would agree, and historians would agree. It's kind of it was kind of fueled and very much caused by the consequences of World War One and the sanctions and everything that were imposed on Germany, which made Germany extremely pathetic and embarrassing and weak and limited, and led the population to poverty, to being a completely weak nation that can't afford anything in Europe anymore.
I literally just said that, AP.
So the German response to this, the Nazi response to this was, look what they have done to us. We have to get up. We have to rise up and finish them all. And so on. So it wasn't necessarily the German spirit. It was just the conditions forced upon them. You know?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, if you simultaneously have that, like, we're being treated like this, but we're the smartest and we should be dominant, that's a recipe for someone stepping in there and saying, look at how the world is treating us. Look what's happening to us. Is this how we should be? No, we should be on top. We should be on top. We should be running these things. It's a recipe for it. It's built into them that we're smart and we're strong, and yet the world's treating us like we're pathetic. We need to change these things. I point this out, of course, because you have something similar in Islam where they're taught, you're the best, you're the strongest, you're the best at everything, you're the smartest. The difference is they have nothing to back it up, right? Zero, right? The Germans could at least say, look at all the scientists we're producing. Look at all the physicists. Look at all the operas we're making. And we're doing this in spite of the entire world trying to impress us and keep us in a state of poverty. Look at what we're doing. We're obviously these tremendously great people. You had the same mindset in Islam, but with nothing to point to. I mean, when you ask Muslims, hey, if you guys are so great and you've got the last prophet and you're the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind, what are you doing? Well, if you go back 1,200 years, it was a Sufi who decided to take the coffee beans from the Ethiopians and make a drink out of it. You see, Starbucks is because of us. And then they'll boycott Starbucks. But anyway, it's this. It's like you have to scour history to find any. And it's amazing because you guys have always had a huge empire until you lost it in the 20th century. You've always had that, and you've always had this huge portion of the world empire contributing. But you have to like go back and like cherry pick a couple of things that you played any role in at all to help the rest of the world at all. And it's like the most pathetic thing ever. So, oh boy, what a world, what a world, what a world.
It's so funny. Whenever we talk about topics like these, we attract lots of like very, very messed up people in the chat.
That's why you do it. That's why you do it though, right? That's why you do it.
I'm just banning a bunch of people. So.
AP's got an itchy band finger, ladies and gentlemen. He's itching to ban some people. It's fun stuff.
That's what they do.
Andrew says, my overdue jizya payment. Tell AP, well done on the debate. Praying for his safety. Also just saw a debate on Glenn Lowry's show. Did Israel target civilians in Gaza? Love to see a review if you have time. You jotting that down in case you want to check it out?
Yeah.
Basically, if it's like something, 5 or 10 or 20 minutes or something like that, we could do it. Sehr interessant. Swastika was stolen as anything Nazis copied. Yep, they stole that.
Yeah, the thing is, they didn't really steal it themselves. They basically took it from pre-Nazi movements, the Thule Society and other movements that had adopted this symbol from Indian religions, from Hinduism and Buddhism and other religions, as a symbol of prosperity and greatness and so on. And at the point where Hitler and the Nazis adopted it, they just adopted it from those ultra-nationalists who came before them. And to them, it just meant, oh, this is a great symbol that goes back very, very far in time. It is a great symbol of greatness and all that, and it's perfect for us. Let's combine this with our Aryan spirit, and it will be fantastic. But the thing is, the Germans couldn't do anything with the symbol. They just accepted it as it is. It's kind of fun.
That's what they do. Here we have David. You ever tested your IQ? Has to be respectfully high. Sam mentioned it. He loves you and your Quran eating machine. It was 12th grade. They always knew. They always knew my grades were very rarely good because I didn't want to do homework. I refused to do homework. But they always put me in the smart class. It was 12th grade. There's a thing called gifted program that they find out you're gifted and they put you in a gifted program. It was 12th grade, so I'm almost out. And then the counselor says, hey, we'd like to test you for something. And they, because of something your teachers are saying. So anyway, they tested me and then they said, oh yeah, you should have been in the gifted program. They put me in the gifted program. It was already 12th grade. There's no point in being there. Except for there was a couple of chicks I was interested in. But they didn't tell me what my IQ was. So I tested it. I got a book on IQ and I tested it. I did the self-test and so on. I scored something like a 158 or something like that, 160 something. But it said in the test, it said if you scored over 130, this test is not accurate. This test is not accurate. You have to get an official test at like a Mensa place or something like that. So that was when I was like 17 or 18. And then me and Nabil were messing around, and we took an IQ test. It was an online thing, and we both got the same score. It said 168, but it was the same thing. This test is not accurate over something like 120 or 130 or something like that. So basically, I don't know. I've never had it officially tested. So anyway, I'm not. Keep in mind that doesn't mean my IQ is 158, 160, 160. I don't think it is that high, but the tests say it's somewhere above like the 125 or 130 range or whatever they said. That you have to get a fancier test to see where you lie beyond a certain score. So anyway, that's all I know. That's all I know.
Yeah, I took an IQ test and I passed it. So.
I passed. We passed.
Just kidding. I'm above 60. So
I don't believe that. What? Hey guys, late to the show. Will you guys do a show on what happened in Iraq? They legalized child marriage.
we should.
Yeah, we might. We might want to, because it's not like people are reporting it as, hey, they just legalized child marriage, where it's like it's more complicated than that. They've said that religious communities can do certain things if their own religion teaches it or something like that. So we might want to actually go through that and like go through some articles and what the law actually says to clarify, because I'm not entirely clear on it. I read like one article when it happened. Yes, we might cover that. AP, yesterday when you invoked the Holy Trinity and then beautifully made the sign of the cross, you have a hell of a genuine heart.
Thank you. I did it in a moment because the thing is, it's such a weird thing because I don't even know if I want to talk about it publicly much about this, because I kind of prefer to go through some of the journey privately. But
Smart.
But when I
Wait,
I did
one
that-
second. You see everyone, if AP were a grifter, he'd be doing all this like, hey guys, and now I'm going to read this. What should I do? Send me donations if you want me to think this or that or read this or that, right? That's what
OMG, guys.
That's what a lot of
send
people do.
me this one to ask me which religious text I should read from and what questions I should ask.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Go.
Yeah, I kind of did it because I was messing with the guy, and he kind of he was getting really, really worked up and really angry because he's like, yeah, I thought you were agnostic. What is this? You're agnostic to the agnostics. You're atheist to the atheists. You're a Christian to the Christians. A Jew to the Jews. Muslim to the Muslims, and so on. So I just started mixing things up for him, and he got even angry. It was kind of awesome to behold. At the same time, it's also something that I don't really want to take too lightly.
Exactly. I was thinking, hey man,
So-
you might be playing with fire there, messing around with this.
Yeah. So it's not something that it's like I did it in the moment.
And then later on, you're like, uh-oh, should I have done that?
Yeah, and later I'm like, I don't know if that was actually appropriate to do, but I can't go back and fix it anymore.
Yeah, but you have Leonardo here pointing out, hey, you actually did you got some good motions there with that.
Well, I have been doing different practices. I am seeking. I am searching. I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to get somewhere, and it's not necessarily just because I feel lost for the meaning in life, and I'm trying to hold on to something. It's like I think it just gets really difficult to go through life for some people without guidance and with a complete reliance on just your own mind and your own skepticism and your own cynicism. And I have been kind of exploring and trying to look for something to believe in. And I've always sympathized with Christianity, always sympathized with the cross. And my wife recently converted back to Christianity, and this is the funny thing. For years now that we have been married, she knows that I have always been interested in religion. I have always been sympathizing with religious things. I would sometimes randomly listen to some, I don't know, some religious music, and she would just sometimes look at me awkwardly because she was like totally not with it and was just in her atheistic thing. And then to see that she is suddenly the one who returns to the religious fold, and I'm just standing there, it's kind of weird.
No, those of us who are watching that, I thought, I kind of thought if something happened, it would be you converting to something, you becoming a Christian, and then having this kind of battle with your wife, because she was more hostile towards Christianity than you were. You're kind of, look, I don't care what people believe, as long as you're not trying to kill me, which these guys are, and so I'm going to focus on these guys. Whereas she's like sharing stuff by like like the new atheist sort of crowd, and so on. So I was like, oh man, if AP becomes a Christian, he's going to have some problems. He's going to have some problems with this. And then all of a sudden, she converts. She's like, hey, everyone, we must help my husband convert. Everyone pray for my husband. I forget what she's tweeting and stuff, but stuff like that.
The only reason that I'm kind of, or one of the main reasons why I'm kind of why I'm not being very open about this right now is that I just don't know where I will end up in the end, and I don't want to make statements that kind of, given the whole, I don't know, public aspect and people asking about it, I just don't want to make statements that are misleading and that give people false impressions, and then I suddenly end up going into a different direction and all that. It's just I don't want to just I don't want to declare anything without being completely sure about it. That's it.
You heard it here, folks. Let AP figure things out. He'll tell you when it happens.
If you send me high amounts of money, I can just convert to your stuff. It's
if you and it would be funny. What has anyone done that and been like, okay, I'm thinking about converting to this, or that. Whoever sends me the most money, I will. You can decide. Stefan says, MFS, I mean, of course you're good. I think that was when you were reading the German passage and you weren't sure what to what to say.
Yeah.
The Führer wanted Shintoism or Islam because it makes its followers soft targets. Shintoism, the ancestors know best, soft target. Islam, submission to Allah. Mullahs just manipulate their weakness. Yeah, it makes you aggressive, but also submissive towards your leader, whatever that leader is telling you. But if he's saying, hey, go subjugate everyone, that's perfectly fine with, I don't know enough about Shintoism, but Islam definitely.
It is a very honor-based, history-based,
he says it's based. You heard it.
Religion.
He says Islam and Shintoism are based.
And it's funny because it historically kind of taught the Japanese people that that they are the ones who were who have a direct lineage to the gods who created the world, who also, before creating anything else, they created the Japanese islands and created them as basically the representatives of the gods on Earth, and it is their ultimate destiny to be the rulers over the earth and so on. And it kind of got reshaped after World War II into going into a different direction. But that's basically kind of what they were taught.
Here we have, didn't they delete the intellectuals and leftists in Vietnam, Cambodia, China too? They use students and intellectuals and then Uno reverse card.
Yeah.
That's true. That happens over and over again. Communists love using that method. Uno reverse card, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, guys, you got pay attention to who you're forming alliances with, because sometimes they're forming alliances with you knowing they eventually want to destroy you. You're just a temporary useful idiot. AP, are you going to have AP, you going to have coffee with Central Dawa?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. What a dope, man. Central Dawa.
Imagine being so stupid that you actually acknowledge that 1,500 people are watching, and then you actually say, "Your blood is halal. Your blood is halal." And you make a cut throat gesture. What kind of an idiot are you?
Pretty bad. What a dope, man. What a dope. Like, how could he be any more of a disaster?
It's pretty stupid.
But that's Dawa. Who else they got now? Who else they got? No one who's willing to step on stage. Why do atheists hate the Kalam? You mean the Kalam cosmological argument? Because it destroys their position. And I have to say, with something like the Kalam, for anyone who doesn't know what the Kalam, I'm assuming you're talking about the Kalam cosmological argument. But the Kalam cosmological argument, you could put it in different ways. I actually like William Lane Craig's formulation is the most popular. I like it as a series of disjunctive syllogisms. That sounds fancy. You can use this reasoning anytime, but disjunctive syllogism, it's either this or this. It's not this, therefore it's this, right? A or B, not A, therefore B, something along those lines. So it's actually good. So either the universe has existed for all eternity or it had a beginning at some point. You can show, then you offer arguments that it hasn't existed for all eternity, and the conclusion, therefore, it had a beginning. And once you've agreed to that, then it's, okay, the universe, since the universe had a beginning, it either had a cause of its coming into existence or it had no cause. And then you show why it would be absurd to think that something comes into existence with no cause, and therefore you're left with, there must be a cause of the universe. And then you could go through and determine what kind of cause it would be. But why I find arguments like this interesting is you kind of have to just side with irrationality to avoid the conclusion. In other words, you have to say, well, in spite of all these arguments, I still think the universe is eternal. Or you have to say, I do think something can come into existence uncaused or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, what you're saying goes against everything in our experience. And therefore, you're saying you're going against all of our experience and understanding of reality just to avoid the conclusion of this argument. And it kind of makes it seem like evidence isn't really the issue, and you just are willfully deciding to avoid certain conclusions that you don't like, which is atheism in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. Kenton Park says they're causal phobic. Oh, that was a joke. Hang on. It was a joke. I thought he was asking, and it was a joke. Why do atheists hate the Kalam? They're causal phobic. That's funny. AP doesn't get the joke. Both you men look dashing in those glasses. We prefer spectacles. Spectacles. For intellectuals, they keep falling into the same trap all over the world. Support communist revolutions, get deleted. Yeah, and what do the intellectuals at the universities in the West teach? Islam is the greatest thing in the world. It's so great. It's so great. Everyone should be more Muslim and love Islam more. Let's all put hijabs on. Yay. Groypers would get smacked.
There's a funny paradox, that those who get used by these people and then get backstabbed and thrown away often happen to be just by testing, happen to be the more educated and more intelligent and more cultured parts of the population. On average, these people, intellectuals, the ones in academia and so on, have higher intelligence in comparison to the rest of the population and higher education levels in comparison to the rest of the population. But they also happen to be the ones who easily get milked and used by really, really messed up and vile ideologies and then get thrown away in the trash. It's kind of weird that people who are generally more intelligent and more educated happen to fall more easily to being used like that. Why is that? Is it because they trust themselves too much? Is it because they're blinded?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can also, hey, if you're smart, you'll go along with this. Well, I'm smart. Stefan says, Groypers would get smacked. Nazi Germany, is that true?
Yeah, they would.
Do you think Heinz 57 was a poke at Hitler?
Yes.
You heard it here, folks. Islamo leftists be like, OMG, that Winston Churchill guy was such a genocidal Nazi. He literally was oppressing the German freedom fighters. Something along those lines. Yep.
Powerful.
Churchill.
That's what they say.
Churchill, bad guy. I'm poor right now.
Based.
Cool. Well, quit posting super chats. Hey, here we have AP Chesterton. They actually modified the picture. It's you as GK Chesterton. That's funny. Is there a site where you do that? You can just combine two pictures and it'll put them together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to find some of that. So AP Chesterton said, "Islam is a deal with death, which no man of honor should accept."
Very nice.
Grumpy Granny says, "Shared. Thank you." Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Grumpy Gary.
Read the Bible and become inoculated against deception. Read again and get a booster shot.
Booster.
No, we don't believe in vaccines. Ray Ibrahim has been doing lots of vids. You too should go live with him. Yeah, I did. I did go live with him, and I was telling him because he had been on YouTube like years ago and so on, and yeah, I talked to him. I gave him a little crash course and stuff. But yeah, we should get him back on. Very, very knowledgeable about history and so on. So yeah.
Why does he have a fake name?
Raymond Ibrahim.
What a fake name.
It's the realest name of all time. I mentioned before, I think a couple of days ago, but yeah, back in the day, he was like a bodybuilder and was totally shredded. And then he got all out of shape. When I met him years ago, he was not in great shape, had a belly and everything. And then when I went live with him, he was all like massive and shredded, huge shoulders and stuff, even though he's pretty old to be that big. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, how'd you get all shredded again?" And he said he just stuff would stress him out, and he realized he wanted to deal with the stress and stuff, so he would go hit the gym. And then he got more and more into it, and then he just started just hitting the gym regularly again and got all buff. Big, tough, muscle-bound dude. Interesting stuff. Shouldn't we just reverse Sharia on Muslims, pay them if they leave Christian nations or drop Islam, declare the Ummah a terrorist organization? Love you guys. All kinds of things you do, but the main features are you need governments that seriously protect people and deal with threats and not like look the other way because they don't want to hurt people's feelings. If you have a problem with grooming gangs and stuff, your governments, they need to go and crush those things. But it needs to be the ordinary population that is exposing Islam and undermining it. And guys, if you just do that, if more and more people catch on, which is happening, you're in the middle of it. That's why they're dealing with the avalanche of apostasy. Islam does not deal well with criticism. That's why they try to silence critics. That's why they even kill critics. They've known since the time of Muhammad, this stuff does not stand up well to criticism. What's that mean? You know what their weakness is. They're telling you what their weakness is. Their weakness is blasting away at their prophet and their book. They know it. So what's that mean? If someone's bothering you and they tell you what their weakness is, they've just given you a roadmap as to what you should be doing. So you heard it here. We were way smarter with our Jewish German citizens. The German people. Yeah.
Powerful
AP.
stuff.
Yeah. I kept mentioning Germany was producing all of the great physicists and so on. Like half those guys Jewish.
Yep, that's the funny thing. Which the Nazis used Nietzsche, for example, as as we said earlier, for they used his writings, which they twisted to support their own agenda. But Nietzsche actually said, I forgot which one of his which book that was. Human all too human. I think he said something along the lines of how Europeans, despite having adopted something rather silly in his opinion, which is the morality of weakness, should thank the Jews for keeping them rational and more Western, because as much as they always try to or make themselves more and more Eastern, the Jews bring reason and rationality back to them and make them more Western again, and so on. And much of their developments and much of their advancements, they have the Jews to thank for. This is the guy who really didn't like what Jews brought to the world, which is the religion. but he was basically saying Europeans should thank the Jews for that. It's kind of funny.
Oh, everything's funny to AP. AP, meintest du, die Religion Confession würde in Deutschland auf dem Personalausweis stehen? Nein, das ist nicht der Fall. Hackere, David.
Wasn't it
No.
somewhere else? I have I kind
Huh?
of remember that Germans had their religious confession on somewhere on some papers that were, or was it only in some certain regions of Germany? I don't know. That's what I remember. I don't know.
Personalausweis. Du willst einen Beweis? Hier ist mein Ausweis. Gestatten Sie, mein Name ist Frederik Kahn. Ich wurde hier geboren. No, you know. Let's see. Communist KPD and original German Antifa backed Hitler, joined Nazi street violence, called Hitler friend of the working man. No way that happened. Because Antifa is always based. So, AP, are you a Christian yet or agnostic? Are you seriously asking? How many times are people going to ask? Are you converting to Catholicism or just wearing crucifixes and rosaries? Believe it or not, AP, I've been getting messages all day. I saw a picture of AP with a cloth on his feet. Is converted. Let us know.
Powerful.
He's already explained it, folks. Hey, David. What? Hey, David, genuine question. What about the people who have never heard of Christianity? Does this make God's moral judgment inconsistent, thus subjective? No, you seem to think that there's some official position on this. Most people that I'm familiar with who deal with this issue think that there's just something different going on for people who've never heard the gospel. And the basis for that is you had like Old Testament saints, right? These are people, they didn't know the full gospel. They didn't know the full gospel, and yet we're told, hey, these people are Old Testament saints. They're going to be. And so the idea is that these people didn't have the full revelation, but they responded to the revelation that they had. Basically, according to Christianity, everyone has some revelation. You basically can know that there's a creator. You can know that there's a moral law. You can know that there is a moral standard, that you have not lived up to that moral standard, and that you are therefore in need of some kind of forgiveness or savior or something like that. Basically, the Bible doesn't say what happens if you live on a desert island or something like this and you never hear the gospel. So you have different positions on that. And some people think it's sort of like the Old Testament saints. You didn't have the full revelation. You'll be judged according to the revelation, how you responded to the revelation that you did receive. It's not that you're saved without Jesus. It's just the blood of Christ is applied to you because of how you responded in that situation. With that said, again, Bible just isn't clear on that. So if you're saying, aha, what about people never heard of Christianity? That wouldn't be a great objection because Bible's not clear. It doesn't really discuss. You have passages that say those who do not know the law are a law to themselves and so on. They have a conscience and so on, things like that. But as far as like how salvation would work for a person like that, just not you don't have a lot of clarity. So, AP, you are so beloved. May God bless whole fam.
Thank you.
Stop saying God bless you. I'm an agnostic.
Ein Berliner mit Berliner. Here you go. It is in many German jurisdictions, it is kept by the registration office, the Meldebehörde, or the Einwohnermeldeamt, where they record your religious confession for tax purposes, if you pay tax to the church, for example, and so on. See, that's what it is. Okay, it's not on the ID cards or passports or anything. It's just a register. So that's that.
Stefan says, nice guys, stay what you are. No more butt kissing. That's right. We agree.
I'm not going to stay. What am I?
New show idea, origami with AP, where he shows us his favorite Quran pages to do origami with. AP doesn't do Quranigami.
I don't do that. I just do like very little practices, like this kind of stuff, you know. I just want to do an L.
Looking around for some Quranigami here. I usually have some sitting around. I can show people super dope stuff. Don't worry about it. Oh, wait, hang on.
Did you create a channel sometime where you were doing Quran projects? What happened to that?
Oh, yeah, it was called Quran Creations. Yeah. No, I took that down when I was getting rid of all my old stuff.
Beast. Here.
So you have AP's ability to just rip the Quran into little parts, and then you have the sacred art of Kuranagami. Here is a Kuranagami Kaaba. What? It looks exactly like the real Kaaba. Everyone got it?
I think it is the real
And if you don't believe it's the Quran, what? Ah.
It looks so much like the real Kaaba, I almost want to take a dump on it.
I should just get rid of all the books in my background and just have nothing but Kuranagami in the background and never mention it. Just have everything sitting up there.
You should have Kuranagami books there.
I should make a book on Kuranagami. It's just a regular origami book, but it's all how to do it with the Quran. That'd be classic.
And you should have Quran pages that look like books.
That would be dope. Fold up the Quran to make it look like books and stuff. That'd be dope. Ein Berliner mit Berliner says, ich glaub, mein Schwein pfeift. Jans Berlin ist eine Baustelle. Damit kannst du bei mir... This seems like gibberish. Damit kannst du... So my pig whistles.
This is this is in dialect.
All of Berlin is building something.
Ich glaube, mein Schwein pfeift. Jens Berlin ist eine Baustelle. Damit kannst du bei mir keinen Blumentopf gewinnen. Es ist wie es ist. Das ist mir Schnurzpiepe.
It is what it is.
Ja, aber rein an den Buletten. Das find ich Knorke. It's hard for me after many of these years to tell. I wasn't actually ever really familiar with the dialects or the accents of up north, east, but this is some kind of Berlin dialect.
Okay.
Kind of funny.
It is like gibberish, right? He's not saying something. It's just a bunch of weird.
It is actually saying
My
stuff.
pig is
but,
no, I know it's saying stuff, but it's just like
Ik loop
my pig is whistling.
Yeah, my pig is whistling is actually a German. Is actually a German.
And what's
phrase.
that? Berlin. All Berlin is building.
All Berlin is a construction site.
Okay,
That's
construction
what
site.
Is eine Baustelle. That's how it would be in High German. And so on.
Oh, this is why you can't trust Germans. AP, you broke the Allah butt plug in 2 pieces. Shame on you. AP, it's weird. AP gets all this stuff and then he breaks it.
It got stuck. I don't know.
He got stuck in a pig. AP. AP, when coffee with Central Dawa, give him small present. Just kidding. AP's already given his fair warning to jihadis. We have the Bible Sings. Thank you. Mustache Man hated Christianity because he was a Gnostic. Tick History has multiple great videos on National Socialism. Keep getting recommended a bunch of channels that I'm not familiar with, but apparently there are people already posting stuff. I was raised in an anti-theist family and became Christian. Now my 89-year-old nuclear physicist father has become Christian. It's not simplistic. Personally, I've long felt you're on the path. Talking about UAP.
Oh, thank you.
What do you both think when Sam Shamoon calls that Muslima GPT Aussie girl insults and names? I dislike her, but don't think it's very Christian. Yeah, I think there's better ways to approach people. What I was mentioning earlier, that the people who lead other people are astray, they're the ones who are on the receiving end of brutal rebuke in the Bible. So you can say, hey, look, I'm just gonna be look at what she's doing. She's like grifting and trying to convince people that Islam is true and confirmed by Chat GPT. Okay, that kind of makes you like evil, right? You're like in the evil category. So you could say, well, I get to go ahead and blast her. I don't think that would be the best way to go about it. And I have to say, you also have to think about the people who are watching. That Yeah, so maybe you could justify this and say, hey, biblically, these are the people you can go after. But there are other people who are watching and thinking, oh, wow, she's so nice and sweet and pretty. And you're, oh, and it's like, okay, you automatically look like a bad guy. No one's listening to you. So you're kind of failing.
Yeah.
You're kind of failing in the message you're trying to convey. But we're actually going to be responding to her. We're actually going to be responding to her very soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't call her, a whore or things like that. But I also won't lose any sleep over it, and I also won't condemn Sam Shamoon over it. Everyone has their own way to go about this. What she's doing is really messed up. It is, in my opinion, really, really messed up. She's just, and the thing is, to a certain extent, I'm not even fully, and I joke about this, but I'm not even. I kind of find it funny. Earlier, I went through her Instagram page, and you see how she's just completely sexualizing herself and her body, while at the same time trying to appeal to Muslims and to like,
Oh my God, this is literally blowing my mind right now. ChatGPT, this is amazing.
and so on, while also having photos there, which when you look through them, you go into the comment section, you see all those Muslims who went to her profile because of her pro-Islam videos, then go through her other videos where she's
so hot. I will marry you.
sitting there with her legs in everyone's faces with a very short dress or with a bikini, for example, at the beach, and are like, "Wow, you're so beautiful." Made by comments left by Muhammad Abdullah something.
Yeah, and it'll be,
This kind of funny.
you should convert and move to my village in Pakistan. I have many goats I can care for you there. Guys, I'm not even joking. That's how guys in these other countries, they all send messages. I'm saying that because I've seen the converts post about this. These like European blonde girls and stuff who convert, and then they'll eventually, guys, can you stop sending me these messages? There's guys sending me Muslim guys all around the world talking about how I should come and move with them, and they have so many goats, and therefore I should move in. Guys, I'm not interested. And so they have to actually respond to all these guys who are sending them these messages. But see, here's the thing. So Lily, whatever. That's completely evil, right? You're propping up a religion, attacking Christianity, all because there's a community that you can profit from like that. So on the one hand, sick and evil. On the other hand, it's the ummah that has basically declared itself to be that community. Hey, if you want a community that's completely easy to dupe and that you could just milk for money or any attention, anything else you want, just say something positive about our religion. We will fawn all over you and we will rally around you. Manipulators look for what are called soft targets, or people who are easy to manipulate, gullible people and so on. You've got an entire ummah out there that is gullible and easy to manipulate. And so you will have every grifter, every manipulator, every con artist, every scam artist. This is why we see Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Lily. What are they doing? Here's a community. Here's a community that is easy to dupe. So it's kind of like you're doing it to yourselves. You have opened yourself up. How am I going to get mad at a grifter for grifting from people who are basically begging to be grifted? Like how? That's what grifters do. So anyway, it's people need to become hard targets and not soft targets. As long as there are soft targets, you have a giant 2 billion person community saying, please just say anything good about our religion and we'll worship you. You're going to get some people who take them up on that deal.
So we're going to review some of her stuff, but I also thought maybe I should prepare a whole thing about her and going through this. And I'm kind of conflicted on whether I want to expose her kind of stuff or not, because it's kind of funny to watch what's happening.
Oh, dude. One second. Because we'll be doing a live stream on Lily. I wanted to make a video just going specifically through nice tight video, going through her finding Muhammad in the Bible with ChatGPT and respond to each one of those. But if you wanted to make a response like exposing her somehow, and matter of fact, it'd be great to show like what she posts on Instagram and like what she's actually doing, stuff like that. We could do one of our classic like link the videos together. Like at the end of mine's like, okay, so now we've seen something about her apologetics dealing with the Bible and Muhammad and so on. If you'd like to see how really messed up this chick is, check out AP's video. We haven't done that in a while, man. They used to work really well.
We could. I do want to take advantage of her sexualizing her body, though. And
I thought you were about to say something else. You started that sentence off. I do want to take advantage of her sexual. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
No, I want to put her on the thumbnail because I want to just point out the one aspect here, the one big hypocrisy, and I want to put one of her very typically sexual poses on the thumbnail while also putting something Islamic on the thumbnail just to make the point, and then go into her videos, into what she just posted before she started blowing up for Islam, what she posted in between, and so on, how she actually lives, and how she then also pretends to be like, oh my God, Islam makes so much sense, and so on. It's so ridiculous. I went on a video of her earlier where she's standing there at a table like this way, and it's like some other, and she has a bunch of ingredients in front of her, and some other girl comes to her and says, "What are you doing?" And she's like, I'm staring at these ingredients because atheists in my comments said that if I wait for a while, these ingredients can turn into cookies. So how am I doing, or something like that? It's like terrible. Look, there are lots of arguments you can make, but obviously very terrible argument. But the thing is, you look into the comment section. Here's a comment by ASXF. No, here's a comment by some Mohammed guy. This video made me take my shahada. And I look at it and I think, for a second, I think, funny, good joke. But I look into the comment section. First off, this comment which says, I took my shahada after this video, which, by the way, is the dumbest video I've ever seen in my entire life, has 2,900 likes. The responses are, wait, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I'm totally serious. I also changed my username. I'm a Muslim now, so why not? Now, at this point, I could still think that maybe this guy is trolling, but obviously other people should be aware of the fact that this guy is trolling. But you see the responses.
Alhamdulillah, such powerful dawah.
So proud of you. By Basmala al something. Wow, wonderful, awesome. Yes, she's doing such a good job. Wow, amazing. Wow, wonderful. Alhamdulillah, brother. Welcome to the deen. I am Muslim too. Well, Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah. Welcome to the deen. Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, this reminds me of when I'd make a video blasting Islam, and then someone would say, I was a priest before watching this video, but now I've converted to Islam. And then it's like, it'll get like 1,500 likes. Alhamdulillah, so powerful. It's like, are you guys stupid? This is what I'm talking about. like the absolute dumbest group on the planet. And put it this way. I'm saying this because I know how to manipulate people. I constantly restrain that. I refuse. Unless someone's being a real jerk, I refuse to treat people like this. Because the core idea of a manipulator is, why should I go out and do all this stuff to get what I want when I can just dupe morons into giving me what I want? And why? And so I don't believe that you should treat people like that unless they're being real jerks, and then you can break some old skills out of the old tool belt stuff. But you still see everyone else doing it. And you still see soft targets, and you see how they're being used. And it's like the entire ummah is just like, please manipulate us. Please just say something about our religion, or say how you converted, or say that you were a priest, or say that you were the Pope, and how you converted to Islam based on all this. And, we'll worship you, we'll worship you, we'll worship you. Anything you want, give you anything you want. It's like, you guys are, Andrew Tate's a scumbag. I can't fault him, seriously, for manipulating a community that said, please, Andrew Tate, they're screaming for his attention the entire time. Please come over. We want you to say you're a Muslim. So we'll give you anything you want. So stupid, man.
Here's the other thing. I'm kind of conflicted about this whole thing because she's contributing to corrupting these people, in Islamic terms. And in all honesty, compared to Islam, I would totally prefer a bunch of corrupted, degenerate dummies. You know?
You bring it on
So
yourselves, and they bring it on themselves, and they're destroying their own. They're destroying the ummah while thinking that she's here.
I would
helping them.
rather have a society of bunch of corrupted, dummy idiots, morons that are just a bunch of completely harmless degenerates than having an Islamic society. So should I just sit here and watch it happen? You know, conflicted.
Yeah, I'm for. Here's what I'm for. Everyone, this is the overall strategy, right? This is the overall strategy. You've got the entire ummah, and because of the avalanche of apostasy, and because they think they should be uppermost when they're not, and so on, they're desperate. They're desperate for any sort of affirmation of their religion. Then you have all these manipulators out there, and they see this, and they see, ooh, the biggest community of soft targets that has ever existed, crying out to be manipulated. And how can we use this to get what we want? And they do it. They do it. So they do it. So here's the overall strategy when you have that dynamic. A ton of people begging to be manipulated, and you have out around the world manipulators who would love to take advantage of them. What you do is, new manipulator comes along and starts grifting them, and they all rally around that person. Let that person become very popular, then destroy it. Then destroy everything the person is doing. Destroy what the person is doing, and so on. Expose the person, humiliate the person. Eventually, they will abandon the person when it becomes too much of an embarrassment. But guess what? Then the next person's going to come in. The next grifter is going to come in. Let that person build up some popularity, then tear it all down. Tear everything the person did down. Keep doing this. The ummah is going to get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker because they keep falling for every grift. And every time they fall for something, and then you come in after someone gets really, really popular and you expose the person, the ummah over time, it takes them a long time to learn. But one of the things that can help them learn is, I fell for this, and it turned out to be complete idiotic nonsense. Then I fell for this, and it turned out to be complete idiotic nonsense. Then I fell for this, and it turned out to be complete idiotic nonsense. What else am I? There's a light switch moment where it's, what else have I fallen for? Oh, what else have I fallen for? Maybe my entire religion. And hey, if I'm this gullible that I keep falling for stuff, do I really have a solid basis for Islam? Are other people taking advantage of me? Are all the Dawah guys doing the exact same thing, using Dawah to manipulate me? It takes a while. So the fortunate thing about this entire community of gullible people begging to be manipulated, and a ton of grifters and narcissists and psychopaths and so on who want to take advantage of them, is that even though it takes a long time, you have everything you need there. Everything you need to ultimately show them what's going on here. It's all there. Just got to be relentless in going after it. All right, a few more super chats. AP, if you want that AP Chesterton photo, it's my newest community post. Hey, AP, you should grab that. It's a very easy tweet. And just post that picture with AP Chesterton. And that will do well, especially with Chesterton fans. The Muslims are coming for Japan now. Little do they know the kamikaze spirit has been alive and well since World War II. That's the other thing.
Don't mess with the Japanese. Japanese are very, very. They're not really afraid of just saying, "Hey, this is our country. F off."
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about places that have different values, is they're going to react differently to Islam. And interestingly, a lot of Muslims understand this, right? They understand difference. That's why they don't complain about China nearly as much as they'll complain about anything, right? I mean, think they're being put into Muslims are being put into actual concentration camps in China, and you hear almost nothing about it. Why? Because they know it won't work against them. They know, oh, look, you're oppressing us, won't work against them. And so they don't even try it. Instead, they'll just whine to people who can be taken advantage of as far as people who have sympathy and empathy in these situations. Oh, are you being oppressed? We'll do everything to you want. Go ahead, take our 12-year-old girls as long as we don't hurt your feelings. British Fever says, can you do a show on Alex Rudacubana, please? That's that guy who killed his kids. Britain's child killer got 52 years after killing children. He had Al-Qaeda manual and went mosque, but jihadis say he was Christian. Yeah, they say the people who attacked Hatun at Speaker's Corner were Christian too.
The guy was a complete lunatic. He didn't he in court say, "I'm glad that they're dead" or something like that.
Yeah, said after he asked who was the youngest one I killed, and they said like 6 or something. They said he laughed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough, but some people are just lunatics, whatever their background is. So even if he's a Muslim, you can't have a Muslim who's just a complete lunatic. So I don't know enough about it, but we could if there are any good articles or videos on this situation, we could go through it. My dudes, my super chat question on AP's religion was sent before he explained. We know that. We go through super chats long after they were posted. So
I appreciate you, and David is always a jerk, but
no, David is always based. There's a fine line between being a jerk and being based. If religion is on the ID card, you could really target specific people based on their religion, like these guys in Amsterdam did months ago. Mo Hijab thinks Elon is targeting him. That's funny. I want to revisit that and go through some posts, but you got to wait till Hijab flips out again. That's what a narcissist does. I want attention. 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 Always good show. Machain. Very rude. Very rude. Very rude. No comment there. Ya Muslim. It's such a funny little thing. Ya Muslim. I recommend Dimitru Staniloe's book because he explains deep things at a high school level so all understand, including many Muslims. Allahu Snakbar. Not familiar with that. Me, man, a few words. Stay away from Islam. Be decent. It's a good idea. And we have one way of taking the Lord's name in vain is cursing. More important is talking about God and Jesus in a style to make you look good. Virtue signaling. Yes, AP, stop all the virtue signaling. Yeah. And AP converting to Judaism would be kind of funny. Yeah, I've said that in the past, that AP going from Islam to atheism to agnosticism to Judaism and then to Christianity would be funny because he would have been everything, basically. You could toss in something like Hinduism or something. It would be kind of weird if he converted to Hinduism or something like that, but would be kind of funny. I think a lot of Dawa guys would lose their minds. It'd be funny. All right, everyone. We had a ton. We went through a ton of super chats today. That was cool. But yeah, so guys, it's weird to even have the need on this planet in the 21st century to be talking about Hitler and Christianity. But these are the times we live in. What we were saying about the Ummah and grifting, that there are people who see soft targets and want to manipulate them. That's not just going on with the Ummah. That's going on with people all over the place. And there are grifters. There are grifters who are, hey, here are people who are uncomfortable with things going. Let's convince them that Hitler's okay. Here's a good. People are worried about this. We'll just say, hey, Hitler was also worried about that. Oh, you want to solve this problem? Yes, that's exactly what Hitler wanted to do. He's on your side. Whack-a-mole, ladies and gentlemen. Whack-a-mole. Bunch of weird nonsense popping up every day. Just gotta be relentless in exposing it. Muslims are like, Hausmeister Krause, alles für den Dackel, alles für den Hund, unser Leben für den Hund. Just replace Dackel with Islam and Hund with Muhammad. You don't want to, dude, you're going to get in trouble if you replace Hund with Muhammad. It's going to get you in all kinds of trouble. All kinds of trouble. All right, everyone. You know what we're talking about tomorrow on your channel, AP?
I'm not entirely sure yet. Maybe something connected to something. So I'm just reading about the guy, about the killer.
Oh, yeah. Sick, evil person. Sick, evil person.
Oh,
Sick,
messed up.
evil
At the
person.
age of 13, he asked, "What should I do if I want to kill somebody?" Later, he got violent multiple times. Was researching terrorist attacks and how to conduct them. Was referred to anti-extremism programs twice, but they sent him back because they couldn't identify any terrorist motives. Eventually, he ended up killing children. What is?
Can't hurt people's feelings or be racist, and
Can you imagine how many times this could have been prevented from happening?
could have been prevented a lot of times, and at any point could have recognized. At any point could have recognized maybe this person should not be here around these kids because he got some problems here, but can't do that. Can't do
Yeah. Anyway,
that. Hurt your feelings.
might do something tomorrow about something.
All right, guys. So you heard it here, folks. Tomorrow might do something about something.
That's right.
We will see you all then. We don't know what it will be, but it will be based. Just so
But
you know.
always remember.
Sound advice.
Very, very wise.
Listen. Always listen to the goat.